Okay, good morning, all of you. I tell you this, when we do this, it's immense joy. You can't believe how much joyful I become when I to get this point of May. Because when we first started, it was dark because India was not respected. And somehow a friend of India, John Galbraith, and his wife, they somehow allowed me to do this event and they encouraged it. I didn't know what the event would be. So they said, I don't know who the poets are, how many people will show up. So then we said, let people recite freedom poems, the freedom of the Indian freedom struggle. So that's how it started. And it went very well. And ever since, we have been dragging it on. New things are happening. And this year, we have Call for Freedom. Call for freedom is a bold call. Is human being born free, or does he call for freedom? Are we free or are we dependent? This has become India's message that man is born free. Every life is free. Air is free, water is free, fire is free, sun is free. But then man is not free. So we have this beautiful morning today to celebrate Call for Freedom. Many people have given. We welcome Sergio, who has been a new member to us. He is a Spanish teacher in local college. Also, we have two or three from India. Devilal, a professor in mass communications, and Prafulla Mishra, a professor in Sanskrit. And Kushagra has been here, the Sanskrit scholar. So, and then rest of the people are local. And Sajid has been with us for a long time. He lives in California now. So I say that we go. Manish Srivastava is recording it. He also has suggested that he wants to take the material and produce a book. So we will cooperate with him, probably fund him. Now, each of us have about 5 minutes of time. So I will say that kindly read your poem, introduce yourself in a line. I'm so and so. Before that, a slide will come in your name, done by our beautiful friend, Yamandip Singh, and he will project the slide. Then you come, follow the sequence, and be ready at the time. And then you will say, I'm this person, and title the poem, read the poem as clearly as possible, and then give some kind of English interpretation or a translation if you have. No, interpretation you must, translation if you have. Just for the record, for the archive, for the posterity, so that we're doing this. And then we continue. So hopefully we could be done by about 12:30 or so. We have 24 or 25 we have. Just Paul kind of could not make it today. And it seems one or two we may miss at the end also probably. We shall see. All right. With that, I invited, I thought it would be very nice who can call for freedom amongst us who has been driven out of home. Most of us, we have come out of a different country, but we're not driven out of home. And Shunana, our friend who showed up in one of our meetings maybe 15 years ago, and she's physically, her family had been driven out of their homes in Kashmir. Shunana, ever since she came to us, has been a regular participant, has also flourished herself as a powerful poet. And lately I hear that she has been a film writer, publishes books. mother, homemaker. So everything that you can think of on a sweet middle-aged woman. I won't call middle-aged, but she's like my daughter. So let me introduce Shumena Kachru, who writes in Hindi, Urdu, Kashmiri. So she will see her words. मैं वो गीत अब नहीं गाऊंगी. And then we continue. Each person comes, continue, and I will show up only if I find somebody interesting that I might have introduced. Otherwise, I will end up with my poem from the Vedas, which I did this morning. Thank you. Sunana.
Thank you so much. I think my introduction is done. As Bijayji said, that I write in Hindi, Urdu, English, and Kashmiri. Today, I will be reciting a poem that is a tribute to a Kashmiri poem by Sahitya Academy winner poet Dinanath Nadan. The title of the poem is his poem, Kashmiri poem is Bigyavna Asunagamu, which means that I'm not going to sing that song again. His poem, which was written probably in 60s or 50s, is a rant against the victims of terrorism in Kashmir, the bloodbath and the killings that we have endured and continue to. From the first religious persecution, our family, my family, in 1947, to those that followed later, and to the one that got killed this week, my poem is an angst against the politicians that refuse to act to protect our identity and intellectuals that refuse to listen to our stories. My poem is Freedom from Terrorism. You will encounter some words that I've taken from the original poem. These are Kashmiri words. I've kept them. I want you to hear the words in Kashmiri so you know the sound of a language. The words will be Sumbal, which is hyacinth flower. Maswal is iris. Nagin is a twin lake of Dal. Kangdi is an earthen pot used for heating in winters. Nar is a word, Kashmiri word for fire. अब मैं नहीं गाऊंगी. अब मैं नहीं गाऊंगी. अब मैं नहीं गाऊंगी, फिर से नहीं गाऊंगी. अब मैं नहीं गाऊंगी, फिर से नहीं गाऊंगी, वो गीत नहीं गाऊंगी. अब मैं नहीं गाऊंगी, फिर से नहीं गाऊंगी, वो गीत नहीं गाऊंगी जो बुलबुलों और सुंबलों और मसवलों को था सुला रहा. जो बुलबुलों और सुंबलों और मसवलों को था सुला रहा, झुला रहा, खिला रहा, वो गीत नहीं गाऊंगी. वो गीत थे जो मीत के सुबह के जलते धूप के. वो गीत थे जो मीत के सुबह के जलते धूप के, खिड़कियों की धूप के. सुबह के जलते धूप के, खिड़कियों की धूप के, उस सुंदरी के रूप के थी बेखबर, वो बेसबर. उस सुंदरी के रूप के थी बेखबर, वो बेसबर. घूमती इधर उधर टेक के वो अपना सर. घूमती इधर उधर टेक के वो अपना सर. देवदार की शाख पे, देवदार की शाख पे, आंख पे तितलियां, तितलियों में बिजलियां. आंख पे तितलियां, तितलियों में बिजलियां. गुलो गुलजार थे, नागो आबशार थे. गुलो गुलजार थे, नागो आबशार थे. चिनार थे, चिनार थे. गुलो गुलजार थे, नागो आबशार थे. चिनार थे, चिनार थे जो आदि नींद में पके, आसमान पे रखे, बादलों में यूं फंसे. हंसे हंसे वो इस कदर कि जैसे डल में तैर कर. हंसे हंसे वो इस कदर कि जैसे डल में तैर कर. ठहर कर शिकारे में, नजारों के इशारे में. शहद की कटोरियां, मीठी मीठी लोरियां. शहद की कटोरियां, मीठी मीठी लोरियां. अब नींद की हैं गोलियां. शहद की कटोरियां, मीठी मीठी लोरियां. अब नींद की है गोलियां. गोलियां गोलियां, बंदूक की है गोलियां. गोलियां गोलियां, बंदूक की है गोलियां. नफरतों की बोलियां, बोलियां कश्मीर की. अब मैं नहीं गाऊंगी, फिर से नहीं गाऊंगी. निशात शालमार के रेशमी बहार के. निशात शालमार के रेशमी बहार के. शबनमी रुखसार के ऊंचे कोहसार के. शबनमी रुखसार के ऊंचे कोहसार के. नगीन के श्रृंगार के, कांगड़ी के नार के. नगीन के श्रृंगार के, कांगड़ी के नार के. डल के उस बार के, किसी के इंतजार के, डल के उस पार के किसी के इंतजार के, तिल मिलाते भ्रमर के पुष्प पे प्रहार के, तिल मिलाते भ्रमर के पुष्प पे प्रहार के, निसार के निखार के, यारो नौ बहार के, बहारें कश्मीर की, अब मैं नहीं गाऊंगी, फिर से नहीं गाऊंगी। वो जंग साज जाल साज भूख जिसकी तख्त ताज, वो जंग साज जाल साज भूख जिसकी तख्त ताज, ताक मैं बैठा है आज। वो जंग साज जाल साज भूख जिसकी तख्त ताज, ताक मैं बैठा है आज। होंठ पे लिए गुलाब, चाल में लिए रुआब, बात में लिए जवाब, पर छुपाए उसने नाग गहरी नींद में समाज। वो जंग साज जाल साज हो गया है कामयाब, घरों को लगा के आग। वो जंग साज जाल साज हो गया है कामयाब, घरों को लगा के आग। कह रहा है भाग भाग, अब नहीं तेरा ये घर, अब नहीं तेरा शहर, अब नहीं तेरा ये घर, अब नहीं तेरा शहर। डर बर अरे बुजदिल तू डर, डर अरे बुजदिल तू डर, जो हाल हाल दिख रहा, लाल लाल दिख रहा, हाँ वो मेरा खून है। जो लाल लाल दिख रहा, हाल हाल दिख रहा, हाँ वो मेरा खून है, जुनून है, तुझे जंग का जुनून है। पर क्या तुझे अब सुकून है, पर क्या तुझे अब सुकून है? खुद से फरामोश है, अब हर कोई खामोश है। खुद से फरामोश है, अब हर कोई खामोश है। खामोशियां कश्मीर की, फिर से नहीं गाऊंगी, वो गीत नहीं गाऊंगी, अब मैं नहीं गाऊंगी। Yeah, so I think I had summarized it at the beginning. This is a take on that poem. And yeah, thank you.
बहुत सुंदर,
Thank you.
unparalleled. She is a born poetess.
Let's move on. Yeah.
Yeah, good morning. I will read a poem, if I am able to see that. Yeah, I will read a poem with the title, A Ustedes Me Dirijo. It's not exactly a poem about freedom, but it's an interpellation to the people that is killing other people to stop doing that, because the life of humans is sacred. So, with that in mind, I will start. A ustedes me dirijo. Ayer, hoy y mañana continuarán matando a la gente en Ucrania, El Salvador, Sudán, Siria, Brasil, Libia, Afganistán, Somalia, Venezuela, Yemen, Congo, Irak, México, Colombia. En todas partes se está matando a la gente de muchas formas. Están matando mujeres, líderes comunitarios, ambientalistas, obreros, inmigrantes, estudiantes, indígenas, campesinos, indigentes, periodistas. Los asesinos, hay que admitirlo, hacen bien su trabajo. Son profesionales de la muerte y liquidan a quienes estorban los planes de sus jefes, de los poderosos a quienes sirven a cambio de un sueldo. Ahora mismo, la vida de aquellos que se oponen a los poderosos, de aquellos que alzan la voz contra las injusticias, corren mucho peligro. Señores poderosos, dueños del gran capital, culpables de la miseria de tantos, señores gobernantes al servicio de las empresas, a ustedes me dirijo para demandarles, respeten el sagrado derecho de vivir con dignidad. A usted, joven soldado, que sigue órdenes injustas como la de matar en nombre del gobernante en turno. A usted, señor que asesina a mujeres por rabia, por despecho, por un mísero sueldo. A usted, señor de traje, corbata y pistola bajo el saco, guarura a sueldo. A ustedes, señores traficantes de personas, de drogas, de órganos. A ustedes, traficantes de sueños, que se aprovechan de la pobreza de las mujeres para prostituirlas en las grandes capitales. A todos ustedes, señores asesinos, me dirijo para informarles que la vida es sagrada, para exigirles que respeten la vida de los demás, para que llegado el momento podamos respetar la vida de todos ustedes. Thank you so much.
You have an English translation?
I do have an English translation, but my English is terrible, so bear with me then.
Please do.
I am addressing you. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow will continue killing people in Ukraine, El Salvador, Sudan, Syria, Brazil, Libya, Afghanistan, Somalia, Venezuela, Yemen, Congo, Iraq, Mexico, Colombia. Everywhere they are killing people in many ways. They are killing women, community leaders, environmentalists, workers, immigrants, students, indigenous people, peasants, homeless, journalists. The murderers, it has to be admitted, they do their job well. They are death professionals, and they liquidate those who hinders the plans of their bosses, of the powerful whom they serve in exchange for a salary. Right now, the lives of those who oppose to the powerful, of those who raise their voices against injustice, is in great danger. Powerful lords, owners of great capital, guilty of the misery of so many, men in power at the service of big corporations. I'm writing you to sue you, to demand respect for the sacred right to live with dignity. To you, young soldier, who follows unjust orders, like those of killing in the name of the ruler in turn. To you, sir, who murders women out of rage, out of spite, for a misery salary. To you, sir, in a suit, tie, and a pistol under your coat, pay guard. To you, people traffickers, drug lords, organ traffickers. To you, traffickers of dreams, who take advantage of women's poverty to prostitute them in the big cities. To all of you, murderers' lords, I address to inform you that life is sacred, to demand respect for the lives of the others, so that when the time comes, we can respect your own life. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very nice.
I have two people I see from my Facebook group. Let me introduce them. Dr. Sakuntala Gupta and my friend Vijaya Mishra, my namesake. So they are in my Facebook group way back in India. So they have joined. Okay, Kushagra Aniket. You have not met him, but he has been a powerful poet in Sanskrit.
Namo Namah. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm an economist and a management consultant based in New York. I will be presenting my poem in Sanskrit. This is actually a part of a larger collection of about 100 shlokas that I have composed called Naishkamya Shatakam, about detachment and liberation from the world. So I will be presenting 14 verses in the form of a prayer, which is a call for strength in the path of liberation. The sadhaka, or the spiritual aspirant, is disillusioned with the trials and tribulations of the world and seeks to call for divine guidance to activate his inner energy as he endeavors on his path towards the ultimate goal of moksha, or freedom. I will first recite it in Sanskrit and then provide an English translation. महामोह संदेह संदोह मध्ये महाज्ञान घोरांधकारे रजन्याम समुद्धर्तुमात्मानमेवात्मना मे प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं न मे संबलं किंचिदद्यास्ति बाह्यं करे साधनं विद्यते मे हितस्य त्वमेवासि यन्ता शरण्यो हृदिस्थः प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं सदा धावनेन व्यथां जानुनोर्मे सदा चिन्तया चैव मस्तिष्ककष्टम् जगत्तर्जनाघातशल्यं प्रसोढुं प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं कुरंगीकृतोऽहं भवारण्यमध्ये मनोजातकस्तूरिका गन्धमुक्तः पटुव्याधबाणात् स्वरक्षार्थमद्य प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं गतो मे वसन्तो निदाघो व्यतीतः गतो मे वसन्तो निदाघो व्यतीतः पयोदागमाकाङ्क्षिणो जीवनस्य अपर्णे विपर्णे स्वहेमन्तकाले प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं कवेर्ज्ञातुमेवाभिधामुद्यतोऽहं ततो लक्षणां व्यञ्जनां चैव यत्नात् मनो मेधुना वीक्ष्य वक्रोक्तिविद्धं प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं मुदा कामकल्लोलिनी स्नातु कामान् कथं बोधयेयं तटान्ते प्रयातान् समक्षं समीक्ष्योरगग्राह चक्रं प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं यदा क्रेतुमेतं सुखस्यापि लेशं यदा क्रेतुमेतं सुखस्यापि लेशं जना उत्सुका द्रव्यवन्तो महान्तः जना उत्सुका द्रव्यवन्तो महान्तः अमूल्यस्य मूल्यं तदाख्यातुमत्र प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं स्वयं कर्मभिर्बन्धने बध्यमानान् स्वयं बन्धनोच्छेदने सिद्धहस्तान् सुकाव्येन तान् प्रेरितुं मार्गबन्धून् प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं अनेयं नये दुर्नयान्नेतुमस्मिन् अनेयं नये दुर्नयान्नेतुमस्मिन् क्षमो नैव नेता न यज्ञोऽपि कश्चित् स्वयं भ्रान्तपान्थं समध्वे प्रणेतुं प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिम् अहेर्लालनाद् दुग्धदानेन वीक्ष्य भुजङ्गप्रयातं नृणां मस्तकेषु तदा गारुणं मन्त्रमुद्घोषितुं मे प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं प्रमोदे प्रमादे प्रयाणे प्रवासे प्रमोदे प्रमादे प्रयाणे प्रवासे विनोदे विवादे विलासे विषादे वपुश्चन्दने मोहसर्प प्रयाते वपुश्चन्दने मोहसर्प प्रयाते प्रभो देहि शक्तिं विभो देहि शक्तिं I will skip the last few stanzas and now go to the translation. So just providing a brief overall translation of the entire poem. It is in the form of a prayer. So it starts with, O Supreme Lord, at night in the middle of the great darkness of delusion and doubt, give me the strength to liberate myself on my own. I do not have any external strength. The instruments of my well-being are in my own hands. You are my controller and refuge, dwelling in my heart. Give me strength. Grant me the strength to bear the pain in my knees caused due to constant running, the pain in my mind caused by constant worry, and the torturous splinter of the world. Give me strength. I have been made into a deer in the forest of transience, and I'm enchanted by the smell, and I'm enchanted by the smell of musk coming from my own mind. O Supreme Lord, grant me the strength to protect myself from the arrows of the clever hunter. My spring is gone, and the summer of my life has also passed, while I longed for the arrival of clouds. Now grant me strength to survive the leafless autumn of my life. And in this way, there are some other stanzas as well, where the poet is praying for strength in different situations. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. So at the end of the session, hopefully, we will kind of have some time when we should discuss each poem, whatever we can discuss. I think each of the poem is so powerful, and they could take half an hour to be recited, explained, and we are not doing justice. But then also we are trying to accommodate as many voices as we can. So hopefully all people will be present, so that at the end we can really understand people's sentiment better and appreciate their efforts and the poetry and the literature. Devilal from India.
Thank you. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Hope I'm audible.
Yes, yes, move on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. My sincere thanks to everyone, to all the organizers who have made this wonderful event possible. So my poem is Am I Free? The theme goes like this. The real freedom lies within. And freedom in its essence is a positive phenomenon. As long as someone can't overcome their weaknesses and negativity, they can never be free. So everyone needs to ask this question to themselves, am I free? So this is my poem, a very small poem. When my sweat stops my soul, when I can't think beyond the goal, when my smile remains silent, and the circumstances get to judge my element, I ask myself, am I free? When my mind grows weaker, when my thoughts make me falter, when my conscience is full of fear and my strength bursts into tears, I ask myself, am I free? When I forget my divinity, when I forget my divinity, when I am lured into the mundane frivolity, when I can't express my own substance and seek after extrinsic dependence, I ask myself, am I free? When I get defeated by my emotion, when my self-belief can no longer function, when I can't withstand the inner commotion and try to forgo the right action, I ask myself, am I free? I ask myself, am I free? Thank you.
Geeta Patil. Geeta ji. I think she's away from the desk. Geeta ji. Amandev, you may want to move on to next.
Basant Machwi, I think again I have to probably understand where people are. Okay. Basant Machwi. Please, everyone, when you come.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, please go.
I'll be reading my poem. It is in Hindi.
Yeah.
And the topic is Yo or Jeene Do. I am a retired professor of physics, but literature has been in DNA and RNA of my family. Both of the uncles were very famous in this field. So I will read my poem, which runs like this. पिंजरे का तोता बोले, पिंजरे का तोता बोले, जू का बाग धाड़े, मदारी का बंदर उछले, स्वतंत्रता उनकी रोते बैठे। क्या सोचा इंसान ने खुद की रोटी पाने को, उनकी आजादी छीने, महिलाओं को गुलाम बनाकर सर्कस कोठे भेज वाह लूटी उसने। नेपोलियन से हिटलर तक किस फितरत में लाशों के अंबार लगे, किसे जीतने का नशा चढ़ा था, आखिर काल के गाल वो भी चढ़े। रानी से गांधी तक, रानी में लक्ष्मीबाई, रानी से गांधी तक वे मशाल आजादी की जलाए। अब्राहम से मंडेला तक कभी पीछे न हट पाए। आज छिन्न भिन्न है यूक्रेन, बम गिरते चारों ओर, आतंकी कहां न चूकते, आत्मदाह से करते विस्फोट। आज छिन्न भिन्न है यूक्रेन, बम गिरते चारों ओर, आतंकी कहां न चूकते, आत्मदाह से करते विस्फोट। वर्ल्ड ट्रेड सेंटर फूटा, ताज होटल तक न बच पाया। वर्ल्ड ट्रेड सेंटर फूटा, ताज होटल तक न बच पाया। कोरिया के दो फाड़ हुए, शस्त्र बनाने वालों की जमीर न जागी। ये सब मानवता के दुश्मन जानकर भी अनजान बनते। सुख शांति की होली इनको प्यारी लगती है स्वतंत्रता छीने। यह अकवि, दिस इज माय पेट नेम, यह कवि की वेदना कह रही, यह अकवि की वेदना चिल्ला चिल्ला कर कह रही। छोड़ो सब, हम मुख और सुख रहकर गले लगाओ, जी लो और जी लेने दो सब। This is the title of my poem, and because I find that there is everywhere some fight is going on, why people are not respecting the peace and tranquility. So this is my expression of thoughts. Thank you very much.
Very nice. Good job.
Good. Sajid comes on peace.
Thank you. The name of my poem is On Peace. And before the poem, there's a quotation by Maria Montessori, which I'd like to read. It says, "Peace is what every human being is craving for, and it can be brought about by humanity only through the child." Now the poem. In this hostile world, some people feel skeptical in the prospect for peace. I understand. Nations are at war against each other, overt war, covert war, cold war, hot war. Still, I have not lost my hope for peace because I have not lost my faith in children. Children still play. They make friends, they fight, then they make up. They laugh and they cry. They get hurt and they heal. They fail at trying, then they try harder. They want everything, then they share. They talk and they listen. They delight in freedom like a bird in flight in the unbounded universe. They question and they understand. They wonder and they discover. They feel sad and they feel happy. They care, they think, they imagine, they know when they're loved, and they know how to love. As grown-ups, people break up the one world into nations, invade, occupy, massacre, loot, and build borders to go to war against each other. As grown-ups, people turn into politicians and play on people's fear of the enemy to get elected. As grown-ups, they suppress and fabricate history with lies and propaganda to mislead trusting citizenry to untruths and denial. As grown-ups, people become soldiers to sheepishly obey orders to blow each other away. As grown-ups, soul-washed, they're indifferent to the killing of children, innocent civilians, unless it's one of their own. As grown-ups, they did freedom, suppressing the call of their own conscience. As grown-ups, people build corporations to fuel the permanent war to secure permanent profit. But at the end of the day, everything returns to its source. Grown-ups return to the child within, unadulterated, seeing beyond the transient passage cluttered by blinding possessions, greed, indifference, narcissism, power, violence, and delusion of winning a war. Wisdom gained is child's clarity of the truth. Life re-examined is life renewed and resurrected. Hope inspires, hope activates. Love, compassion, empathy, friendship, simplicity, conscience, courage, justice light the way. The dove of peace readies to take the flight. Thank you.
Thank you. Bina Wahi. Good.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nina Wahi, and can you guys hear me?
Yes, carry on.
Okay. So my name is Nina Wahi. I live in Boston. I'm a retired teacher, and I do poetry and painting. So my poetry is about freedom in relationship. It's in Hindi, so I'll give a little summary. In relationships, blood relationships are very strong, but mother who sacrifices her whole life, she doesn't have freedom. When we talk about brother and sister, they are siblings. When they are growing up, they are very close to each other. But after marriage, they get involved in their own families. So sometimes because of the social status, sister or brother, they are not free to meet each other. And then cousins also, if there was freedom, we will not find Kans and Shakuni Mama everywhere. And in between husband and wife, when relationship is not good, then the children, they end up in daycares. So this is my poetry. रिश्तों में आजादी. रिश्तों में आजादी, रिश्ते गहरे खून के रिश्ते, कितने मधुर कितने न्यारे. रिश्तों में आजादी, रिश्ते खून के गहरे. Sorry. रिश्तों में आजादी, रिश्तों में आजादी, रिश्ते गहरे खून के रिश्ते, कितने मधुर कितने न्यारे. माँ बच्चे के मुख को देखकर बलाएं लेती, उसके हर कष्ट हर पीड़ा को हर लेती, उसकी किलकारियों संग हंस लेती, बच्चों के फलने फूलने की पूरी आजादी देती. लेकिन उस माँ को बच्चे ने कितनी आजादी दी, उस माँ को बच्चे ने कितनी आजादी दी। परदेश जा रहे बेटे को रोकने की आजादी, दुख और लाचारी में बेटे का हाथ थामने की आजादी, भरपेट भोजन करने की आजादी, अपने लिए सपने देखने और पूरे करने की आजादी। भाई बहन के मान मनुहार का रिश्ता, भाई बहन के मान मनुहार का रिश्ता, राखी के कच्चे धागों में बंधी मजबूत गांठों का रिश्ता। शादी के बाद दोनों अपने परिवारों में व्यस्त हो जाते हैं। बहन की गरीबी भाई के घर की शान शौकत में फंसकर मिलने की आजादी खो देती है। चाचा भतीजा मामा भांजा में सम्मान और आजादी होती तो घर घर में कलह करने वाले शकुनी या कंस मामा ना बैठे होते। भतीजी या भांजी अपनी इज्जत को आंचल में छुपा कर ना रखती। रिश्तों में सम्मान और आजादी ही जरूरी है। पति पत्नी का रिश्ता, पति पत्नी का रिश्ता प्रेम अभिसार पूर्ण समर्पण का रिश्ता, भावी पीढ़ी के सृजन करता, जनक जननी जिनके संस्कारों से फलती फूलती भावी पीढ़ी। ऐसे रिश्तों में आजादी और परस्पर सम्मान ना हो तो, ऐसे रिश्तों में आजादी और परस्पर सम्मान ना हो तो ले लो या दे दो तलाक, ले लो या दे दो तलाक। मासूम भोले बच्चे किसी डे केयर या फिर किसी अनजान आया के आंचल में, किसी अनजान आया के आंचल में आंसू पोंछ लेते हैं, आंसू पोंछ लेते हैं। नानी नाना दादी दादा परदेश में आस लगाए बैठे रहते हैं। सूनी आंखों से बाल गोपाल की राह तकते थक जाते हैं, पर वो नहीं आते, पर वो नहीं आते। ना उन्हें जाने की आजादी है, ना उन्हें जाने की आजादी मिलती है। रिश्तों की डोर कहीं गहरी उलझी पड़ी है, रिश्तों की डोर कहीं गहरी उलझी पड़ी है। आजादी की आस में कहीं जंग खाकर पड़ी है, आजादी की आस में कहीं जंग खाकर पड़ी है। आजादी ही आजादी की गुहार लगा रही है, आजादी ही आजादी की गुहार लगा रही है। सुन लो अब कहीं देर ना हो जाए, सुन लो अब कहीं देर ना हो जाए। थैंक यू।
So you want to try in English this thing or no?
Yeah,
Okay.
in English, it's when the relationships are lack freedom, then what happens in mother sacrifices whole of her life, but she doesn't have freedom to stop her son from going abroad. She doesn't have freedom to touch her son's hand when she needs him the most. And then when we talk about the brother and sister, when they are growing up, they love each other so much, they pamper each other, but after marriage they get involved in their own families. And if the social status is not the same, then sister is poor and she doesn't have freedom to see her brother, cannot go to rich house of her brothers. And then when we talk about the uncle and aunts, if there was freedom and respect among those relationships, then the girls and the nieces would not have to save their sobriety from their uncles. If there is no respect, then we will find the Kans and Shakuni everywhere. And the most importantly, within a couple, when the couple, they don't respect each other, then they lead into divorce, and divorce is terrible for the kids. They end up in the daycares, or sometimes an unknown lady is wiping their tears because she is their nanny. And the grandparents are living abroad. They are not free to love and shower the love to their grandchildren. So in every relationship, we need freedom. And if we cry for freedom in relationship. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Prem Nagar.
So this is Prem Nagar, and my poem, of course, is in Hindi. The title is Paida or Marne Ki Beech, between born to die. Now we are born to die, but in between these, we want to live free. This is our desire. Humans' naturalness right from the beginning, was curtailed due to the fear of animals, birds, weather, and others who can encroach on them. Now, to coexist, freedom was further limited within the socio-economic system assumed by the people. The sovereign fear further caged us. The current geopolitical situation, which is in Russia and Ukraine, is not an exception. So this is an attempt to explore how the fear is limiting our freedom. I'll give you Hindi poem and then in the English some translation. हम पैदा हुए मरने के लिए, हम पैदा हुए मरने के लिए, लेकिन जब तक जिए मुक्त जिए, यही तो एक चाह है। हम पैदा हुए मरने के लिए, लेकिन जब तक जिए मुक्त जिए, यही तो एक चाह है। हम सारी जिंदगी इस चाह की राह को खोजते हैं, हम सारी जिंदगी इस चाह की राह को खोजते हैं, पढ़ते हैं, लिखते हैं, युवा होते हैं, मनोभावों को टटोलते हैं। पता लगता है यहाँ हम इतने लाचार हैं जहां सोच पर भी रोक है। पता लगता है कि यहाँ हम इतने लाचार हैं जहां सोच पर भी रोक है, क्योंकि अनकहा चुप छुप कर गुम सा जाता है, क्योंकि अनकहा चुप छुप कर गुम सा जाता है, चुप चुप छुप छुप से जी घुट घुट सा जाता है। आशाओं और विचारों का द्वंद्व सा हो जाता है, आशाओं और विचारों का द्वंद्व सा हो जाता है। कोरोना वायरस की चाह तो केवल पनपना है, कोरोना वायरस की चाह तो केवल पनपना है। हर देश, यूक्रेन आई एम टॉकिंग हियर, हर देश की चाह तो केवल संचित रहना और खुले में जीना। हर देश की चाह तो केवल संचित रहना और खुले में जीना। समझौते की चाह तो भयभीत भावना को उभारना है। द नेटो एग्रीमेंट। देशों के रूस यूक्रेन विवाद से प्रेरित हुई ये मुक्ति की पुकार, देशों के विवाद से प्रेरित हुई ये मुक्ति की पुकार। सर्वनाश ये विनाश, करुणाहीनता का विकार। देयर इज अ परवर्जन। ये संसार का रोना धोना, किंतु विनाश का बहाना हुआ स्वीकार। ये संसार का रोना धोना, किंतु विनाश का बहाना हुआ स्वीकार। ये झूठ बनावटी मूर्खता का भांडा फोड़ो, ये झूठ बनावटी मूर्खता का भांडा फोड़ो। टुकड़े टुकड़े सी आकृति, सेम्बलेंस, टुकड़े टुकड़े सी आकृति, चुपचाप निवारण ले दौड़ो, लिबरेशन। मुझको छोड़ो ये मेरी चाह है, छोड़ो छोड़ो तथ्यवत के दम को फोड़ो। रशिया इज टॉकिंग। मुझे जीने दो स्वतंत्रता से, मुझे जीने दो स्वतंत्रता से, मरने में भी मेरी यही ललकार। यूक्रेन। हम सब सहजीवी हैं, हम सब सहजीवी हैं, वाद विवाद के ये तकरार। मेरे प्राणों को अब छोड़ो, मुक्त कर दो, यही है मेरी पुकार। छल कपट का है पुरजोर, बचाओ बचाओ का झकझोर। टालम टोल का ये अभियान, टालम टोल का ये अभियान, ढकोसले की है भरमार। हाहाकार में पुकार रहा है संकट मोचन का परिहार, हाहाकार में पुकार रहा है संकट मोचन का परिहार। चलो हम मिलजुल कर, चलो हम मिलजुल कर डर और सुरक्षा की पहेली बुझाएं। चलो हम मिलजुल कर डर और सुरक्षा की पहेली बुझाएं। चलो हम मिलजुल कर मानव स्वभाव के सुधारें और लुभाएं। चलो हम मिलजुल कर मानव स्वभाव को सुधारें और लुभाएं। चलो हम एक दूसरे से अपनापन, एफिनिटी, अपनापन का समावेश झुलाएं। हम पैदा हुए हैं मरने के लिए, लेकिन जब तक जिए मुक्त जिए, यही तो एक चाह है। So the translation goes like this. So while we are born to die, but till we live, we want to live free. This is what we wish. We try to discover our path of wish throughout our life. We read, we write, we become an adolescent and unravel our emotions. We find ourselves much helpless to find that even our thinking is caged, because unsaid speech is hidden and then is lost. Hidden silence suffocates us. Hopes and thoughts remain conflicted. Coronavirus also wishes to prosper and proliferate. Nation, which is Ukraine, also wishes to live free and consolidated. Nation Russia fears a possible NATO expansion of treaty. Entanglement of these nations, Russia and Ukraine, inspired call for freedom. Ravage of destruction and compassion appear perverted. Foul cry of the world for nations, Ukraine's, destruction to weaken others, which is Russia, became the goal of the world. Let us untangle these Russian manufactured lies and foolishness. Ukraine's semblance, piece by piece, is broken silently, and let us bring some liberation. Nation, which is Russia, desires that we look at their ruptured facts, not what the desire is. Battered nation challenges for letting him live freely, even when it is destroyed by Russia. Our relationship is symbiotic and may have diverse opinions, thus we argue. Leave me alone, calling for freedom. Please listen to my call. Hocus pocus is in full display. Please save me from this devastation. Process of avoidance, pretense of swig to save me. In this noise and distress, the world is calling for redemption and atonement of humanity. Let us comprehend the enigma of defense or offense due to fear. Let's bring all together to entice the humanity to prosper, because this entire earth is our family. Therefore, let us assimilate our affinity in this cradle. While we are born to die, but till we live, we want to live free. This is what we wish. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Amit, no, Akhori Kishore. Akhori Kishore, the new, has come from India. He's a postdoc in Brigham.
No, Beth Israel.
Beth Israel, okay. All right. Akhori Kishore Raghavan.
Yes, my name is Kishore Raghavan. I belong to India. In Jharkhand, I was born, and then I was raised in Banaras. I studied mostly in Hyderabad and Banaras. So I have started writing recently. Let's say restarted writing recently. In last 4 or 5 months, I have written unnaturally a lot, and it was a surprise to me when Parmeet Bhaiya introduced me to this event, and I'm very lucky to.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, so my poem is going to be what I have been thinking in past 2 or 3 weeks, and इसके 2 भाग हैं. पहले भाग में मेरा आप सब लोगों से संवाद है, और दूसरे भाग में मुक्ति के लिए व्यक्ति का, मनुष्य का ईश्वर से संवाद है. तो 2 भाग के 2 इन संवादों में मेरी कविता बटी हुई है. कुछ तो मैंने यूं लिख डाला, फिर सोचा ये क्यों लिख डाला. ये अभी से 3-4 महीने पहले तक के समय की बात है. कुछ तो मैंने यूं लिख डाला, फिर सोचा ये क्यों लिख डाला. कुछ लिखे फिर सोच समझ कर, कुछ तो जग के चित्र बनाए, और लिखी कुछ कल्पनाएं. कभी निष्ठुर जग की करी खिंचाई, कभी स्वयं से प्रीत निभाई. कभी रंज लिखा, कभी तंज लिखा, कभी लिखा मनोरंजन की. कभी रंज लिखा, कभी तंज लिखा, कभी लिखा मनोरंजन की. अक्सर मैंने प्रेम पढ़ा है, कभी कभी विरह का स्वर बांधा. गीता यूं तो पढ़ रखी है, गीता यूं तो पढ़ रखी है, लेकिन जब भी लिखा कृष्ण पर, मन में बस आई राधा, कभी रंज लिखा कभी तंज लिखा, कभी लिखा मनोरंजन की। एक दिन अचानक मुझको, दिस इज व्हेन आई गॉट दिस इंट्रोडक्शन टू दिस ग्रुप। एक दिन अचानक मुझको एक सिद्ध मंच का मंत्रण आया, यूं लगा कि ये प्रारब्ध मेरा, यूं लगा कि ये प्रारब्ध मेरा स्वयं आमंत्रण बन आया। Now, what is going on in my mind in past 2.5 weeks? भोर ही पहुंचा सागर तट पर, भोर ही पहुंचा सागर तट पर, सोचा कुछ आवेश लिखूंगा, तीक्ष्ण सा कुछ संदेश लिखूंगा। सोचा कुछ आवेश लिखूंगा, तीक्ष्ण सा कुछ संदेश लिखूंगा। जो युद्ध की काली छाया में, जो धर्म की काली छाया में, जो युद्ध की काली छाया में, जो धर्म की काली छाया में, जो जलती चिताओं की अग्नि में स्वयं को शीतल करते हैं, ऐसे दुष्टों के नाम भी कुछ तो कठिन आदेश लिखूंगा। सोचा कुछ आवेश लिखूंगा। सागर तट पर देख रहा था, जाने कितने काफिर आए। सागर तट पर देख रहा था, जाने कितने काफिर आए। फिर वही द्वेष, वही प्रपंच, फिर उसी द्वेष, उसी प्रपंच के मारे सारे मुसाफिर आए। मन ढूंढ रहा था मुक्ति को, मन ढूंढ रहा था मुक्ति को, पर फहरिस्त में आने वालों की मुक्ति का कहीं नाम न पाया। दिन बीता और शाम आ गई, बहु तेरे मेरे संगी साथी, आज मेरे कोई काम न आया। I was sitting on the beach in the Boston, on the banks of Charles River sometimes, and I'm thinking about what all has happened to this world in past 3-4 decades, what I know of. I start, वियतनाम का युद्ध था, युद्ध हमेशा से रहा है धरती पर। वियतनाम का युद्ध था, 90 के दशक का कश्मीर था, उसके बाद का इराक था, सद्दाम हुसैन का अंत हुआ, उसके बाद में इराक में जो अशांति आई, आईसिस आईसिस हम सब ने देखा, आईसिस यजीदी महिलाओं के साथ क्या होता रहा, हमने वो भी देखा, हमने अफगानिस्तान भी देखा। यूक्रेन आज है, मार्च अप्रैल मई बस, लेकिन मानवता के साथ क्रूरता तो हमेशा से होता रहा है। और इन्हीं सब के बारे में मैं सोच रहा था और कुछ लिख नहीं पा रहा था। क्या लिखूं और किससे लिखूं, किसके प्रति मेरा निवेदन, किसके प्रति हो, मेरा आह्वान किसको जाए। सुभाष चंद्र बोस ने महात्मा गांधी से बहुत आह्वान कर दिया, क्या हो गया, कांग्रेस छोड़ के उन्हें आजाद हिंद फौज की स्थापना करनी पड़ी थी। भगत सिंह ने किससे आह्वान किया?
Read your poem though, not lecture.
Yes. Now, अगले भाग में मैंने उन सब लोगों के, जितने सारे विक्टिम्स रहे हैं पिछले 15, 20, 30 सालों में, उन सब की आवाज बनने की कोशिश की है। और ये संवाद ईश्वर से है, सभी भुक्तभोगियों का। शब्द नहीं मिल रहे कि अब और कुछ भी लिख सकूं, कंठ भी अवरुद्ध है कि और कुछ भी कह सकूं। जानता हूं व्यर्थ है पूछना क्यों गौण है, हो जहां भी जिस जगह क्यों न जाने मौन हो। शब्द नहीं मिल रहे कि अब और कुछ भी लिख सकूं, कंठ भी अवरुद्ध है कि और कुछ भी कह सकूं। जानता हूं व्यर्थ है पूछना क्यों गौण हो जहां भी जिस जगह क्यों न जाने मौन हो। कर्तव्य, कर्म और नियति की परिभाषाएं तुमने घड़ी, हमने बस पुरुषार्थ की सीढ़ियां ही है चढ़ी। जानता हूं ये तुम्हारी रचाई परीक्षा है और इसके परिणाम की मुझे प्रतीक्षा है। मैं तो सहज हूं अभी भी जैसा पिछली बार था, परिणाम फिर बदलूंगा मैं जैसा पिछली बार था। सृष्टि के रचयिता हो तुम, ये सर्वथा सत्य है, सृष्टि का भाग्य लेकिन हमारा कृत्य है। मैं नहीं मांगूंगा कुछ, क्षीण या समृद्ध करो, बस छीन कर मुझसे मेरा न देवत्व अपना सिद्ध करो। मैं मनुष्य हूं, शक्त हूं और तुम्हारा भक्त हूं। कर्तव्य, कर्म और नियति जब तुम्हारे रचे ही खेल हैं, पुरुषार्थ और प्रारब्ध का होता नहीं क्यों मेल है। क्या धरती का आर्तनाद आकाश तक पहुंचा कभी? और अगर पहुंचा है तो क्या पहुंच रहा है अभी? क्या देख तुम सकते नहीं? और अगर दृष्टि है तो क्या देख पाते हो अभी? क्या तुम नहीं रोते कभी? और अगर रोते हो तो क्या रो रहे हो तुम अभी? संघर्ष की शक्ति नहीं, दुख की अभिव्यक्ति नहीं, भय छूटने और टूटने का अब सर्वत्र व्याप्त है, ज्ञान मोह के वश हुआ साहस नहीं पर्याप्त है। जो देव हो तो ये कहो, क्या दुखी होते नहीं, जो देव हो तो हो द्रवित, क्या रो रहे हो तुम अभी। जानता हूं पढ़ लोगे तुम जो मैं नहीं लिख सका, जानता हूं पढ़ लोगे तुम जो नहीं मैं लिख सका, मान लोगे वो बात भी जो नहीं मैं कह सका। अब यहाँ से आस्था, शक्ति और विश्वास दो, धरती की व्यवस्था को आशा का आकाश दो। शब्द नहीं मिल रहे अब कि और कुछ भी लिख सकूं, कंठ भी अवरुद्ध हैं कि और कुछ भी कह सकूं। समाप्त।
You need translate a little bit in English, or you don't need?
If the time permits, I can translate.
No, time permits, but you have to be economical. You did not prepare yourself. Okay. Right.
Yes.
2 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. So I will just take a minute or so to summarize the second part. That's more important. So this is a conversation between, or sort of monologue between, the victims of the present and the past wars, the humans, and they identify themselves. They are requesting the God, and they are challenging him, and at the same point of time, they are asking him to be a bit more merciful and to have some confidence in the humanity. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Amit Khare. People who missed, I think Godavari missed, so she will come at the end or before somebody missing. Okay, Amit Khare.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. So, namaste, everyone. The title of my poem is Swatantrata Kya Ye Ek Bhram Hai? Freedom, is this a delusion? So this poem is in Hindi. The Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, OHCHR, verified a total of 3,573 civilian deaths during Russia's military attack on Ukraine as of May 12, 2022. However, OHCHR specified that the real numbers could be higher. So many cities are devastated and ruins are said as zeros in this poem. So just for this devastation, I used shunya as symbol for the ruins or the remains of the buildings, schools, etc. Two highs are basically two presidents in my poem. So chotiya, I used a word chotiya. So that is for basically the two presidents, and clouds I'm considering as civilians. That is first para of my poem. According to one estimate, 200 million land animals are slaughtered around the world every single day. That's 72 billion a year. In United States alone, roughly 25 million animals are slaughtered every single day. Second paragraph in my poem is about right to live for all animals. I used few words like nirvat, it is called vacuum. Then I used apat, it is for the emergency. And when we were discussing the title of this poem, initially it was for Cry for Freedom. So I did not initially understand it, and then asked questions to Mishra ji. He asked, why not Cry for Freedom? I was basically taking cry as weeping. So he said, why not cry? He himself did so with his mother when his father was in jail for raising his voice. Animals would have been crying for that for the freedom. Last para in my poem is about the same conversation and the flow of emotions. So I start. स्वतंत्रता क्या ये एक भ्रम है? स्वतंत्रता क्या ये एक भ्रम है? यदि नहीं तो क्यों ये शून्य नित गिनतियां बढ़ा रहा? स्वतंत्रता क्या ये एक भ्रम है? यदि नहीं तो क्यों ये शून्य नित गिनतियां बढ़ा रहा? क्यों एक राष्ट्र दूसरे पर आधिपत्य जता रहा? यदि नहीं तो क्यों दो चोटियों के युद्ध में, यदि नहीं तो क्यों दो चोटियों के युद्ध में निर्दोष बादलों का संसार उजड़ा जा रहा? यदि नहीं तो क्यों दो चोटियों के युद्ध में निर्दोष बादलों का संसार उजड़ा जा रहा? स्वतंत्रता क्या ये एक भ्रम है? यदि नहीं तो क्यों हो रहा नित जघन्य रक्तपात? यदि नहीं तो क्यों हो रहा नित जघन्य रक्तपात? जीवित तन पर धीमी आरी, जीवित तन पर धीमी आरी, चीखें सोखता जग निर्वात। जीवित तन पर धीमी आरी, चीखें सोखता जग निर्वात। यदि नहीं तो क्यों मूल्य नहीं निरीह जंतुओं के जीवन का? यदि नहीं तो क्यों मूल्य नहीं निरीह जंतुओं के जीवन का? भाव रहित बस तर्क को आतुर क्या समझेंगे ये आपात? भाव रहित बस तर्क को आतुर क्या समझेंगे ये आपात? स्वतंत्रता क्या ये एक भ्रम है? यदि नहीं तो क्यों कभी माँ, कभी पत्नी, कभी बच्चों को रोना पड़ता है? स्वतंत्रता क्या ये एक भ्रम है? यदि नहीं तो क्यों कभी माँ, कभी पत्नी, कभी बच्चों को रोना पड़ता है? क्योंकि निर्दोष पुत्र, पति या पिता जेल में तड़पता है। यदि नहीं तो क्यों मूल अधिकारों के लिए हर ओर एक लड़ाई? यदि नहीं तो क्यों मौलिक अधिकारों के लिए हर ओर एक लड़ाई? या कहीं न भाप पाए स्वयं दायित्वों की गहराई? या कहीं न भाप पाए स्वयं दायित्वों की गहराई? स्वतंत्रता क्या ये एक भ्रम है? स्वतंत्रता क्या ये एक भ्रम है? धन्यवाद।
Thank you. Very good. Next one, Manish. He just was not there or not?
Now, Manish has stepped out. Amandeep, I can go next.
No, don't go like that. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he stepped out for a few
Yeah,
minutes.
okay, all right.
He
Very good.
messaged. Yeah. Okay. My name is Chandu Shah. I'm a Gujarati poet, playwright. My poem title is Kutro, the dog. So basically, this is about the freedom the dog is wishing on, and it concludes with humans, the freedom that humans are seeking. Kutro, શ્વાન. અમારી લાઈફ નોર્મલ હતી, પછી અમે કૂતરો લાવ્યા. કૂતરો કુતૂહલવશ અમને અને ઘરને જોતો રહ્યો ને અમે પણ કૂતરાને જોતા રહ્યા. અમે કૂતરાને ટ્રેન કર્યો ને કૂતરાએ અમને ટ્રેન કર્યા. લાઈફ ફરી પાછી નોર્મલ થઈ કૂતરા સાથે. કૂતરો હવે ડોગી ડોગ થઈ ગયો. બહાર જવું હોય ત્યારે થોડું બસે, બહાર લઈ જતા ખુશ થાય. પ્રસન્નતા, ખિન્નતા, ગિન્નતા હવે આવડી ગયું એને. ઘાસમાં અડોટવું, ખાડા ખોદવા, પાર્કમાં ફેચિંગ ધ બોલ રમવું, ક્યારેક કોઈક ઇલેક્ટ્રિક થાંભલો તો ક્યારેક કોઈક મોંઘી લક્ઝરી કારના ટાયર. પોતાની જ પૂંછડી પાછળ ગોળ ગોળ ફરવું. નોર્મલ ડોગી લાઈફ રૂટીન. બધું ખુશખુશાલ, આખું ઘર ખુશખુશાલ. મને તાકી રહેલા કૂતરાને તાકી રહી ઘણીવાર હું વિચારું છું, શું વિચારતો હશે આ કૂતરો, ડોગી ડોગ. મને આ ડોગ લાઈફમાંથી મુક્તિ મળે તો, આ જન્મમાંથી છુટકારો, કોઈ બીજા જન્મમાં. 84 લાખ ઓપ્શન્સ છે, 84 lakhs ઓપ્શન્સ I have. ઉપરાંત સાયન્સ ફિક્શન અને મલ્ટીવર્સ પણ ખરા. કૂતરાની જિંદગીમાંથી મુક્તિ પામી હું શેક્સપિયરની જેમ નાટકો લખી શકું તો, કોઈ સેલિબ્રિટી બની જાઉં તો આઇન્સ્ટાઈન, સોક્રેટિસ, પ્લુટો, પાબ્લો પિકાસો, મહાત્મા ગાંધી, એસ્ટ્રોનॉट बनूं. Okay, tour guide for Taj Mahal. Maybe fortune cookie writer बनूं तो, or a seat filler at Oscar Awards, beer tester, endless possibilities. જો આ ડોગી લાઈફમાંથી મુક્તિ મળે તો 84 લાખ જન્મમાંથી છુટકારો, મોક્ષ, માણસો પણ માણસમાંથી મુક્ત થઈ મોક્ષ પામવા મથે છે. તો માણસો ડોગ્સ છે. ફરક એટલો જ છે કે માણસ કૂતરા પર કવિતા લખે છે, કૂતરો માણસને માત્ર પ્રેમ કરે છે. I give a very short and quick translation of this. Our life was normal. Then we brought a dog. So dog was looking at the house, looking at us, and we were looking at the dog. Then we trained the dog, dog trained us. Now the life became normal with the dog. So now the dog becomes doggy dog. It's a kutro Gujarati word becomes a doggy dog English word. They bark a little if he wants to go out. So we take him out. He's very happy. Now he has learned how to be pleasant, how to express anger, how to express other emotions. All his normal routine, like rolling over in the grass, digging in, fetching the ball, and electric pole or a luxury car tire, and going round and round to catch his own tail. Normal life, normal doggy life. Everything was fine. Everybody was happy. Then at one point, dog was looking at me, staring at me, and I was staring at dog, thinking what this dog is thinking. Maybe he wants the freedom from this dog life. He has 84 lakh options, 84 lakhs different lives we live. That's the option he has. Plus science fiction or multiverse. If I can be freed from my dog life, I can write plays like Shakespeare. I can be a celebrity like Socrates, Einstein, Pluto, Pablo Picasso, Mahatma Gandhi. I can be an astronaut, or I can be a tour guide of Taj Mahal, fortune cookie writer, or seat filler at Oscar Awards, or beer tester. Endless possibilities for other lives. Only if I can be free from this dog life. 84 lakh options I have. Would that be moksha if I'm freed up? Would that be moksha? People also seek moksha from being freed up from the human life. Does that mean people are dogs? The only difference is people write poems about dogs. Dogs truly love people. Thank you.
Very good. All right. Then, Janvai.
Manish is back.
Okay.
So is Janvai going, or I can go?
Yeah, you go, Manish.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, and I apologize for that small switch.
That's okay. Move on.
My name is Manish Srivastav, and I have been associated with SAPNE for probably 7 years now. And here I'm going to present two sets of poem. So one is the 4 set of haikus, and the other one is a small poem. The haikus are, as you may know, it's originated from Japan and then later moved on to different languages. The haikus are very small, short poems of 3 lines, total 17 letters. In Hindi, the Hindi haikus are total 17 letters, 5 in first, second line has 7, and the 5 in the last. So my first haiku, and I gave the title Azad Desh Ke Gulam for the complete set of these 4 haikus. आजादी मिली, आजाद हुआ कौन, सोचता फिरूं. We got freedom, but who is free? I have been thinking. That was my first haiku. गुलाम देश, बंधुओं में बांधव, गुलाम अच्छा. Occupied country, but brotherhood prevails. Better be occupied. So the haikus are supposed to say the whole story in these 3 lines. आजाद देश, आपस में संघर्ष, गुलाम अच्छा. Free country, fight within, better be occupied. And my last haiku is 2 जून की रोटी, तन मन गिरवी, कैसी आजादी. Barely surviving, pawned body and soul. Is it really freedom? So these were my 4 haikus, and now I present to you my small poem. 2 years, exactly 2 years from now, there was an incident where George Floyd was killed on 25th May in Minneapolis, 2020. We all know the background about it. I wrote a poem about it, and I'm just going to read that. And here is one sketch which actually, inspired me to write this poem. And I was on a call when I was creating this sketch, and I was reading that news at the same time. दम्भ रंग का तुम दम्भ भरते अब भी थकते क्यों नहीं हो, लाल रक्त हम में भी बहता मानव समझते क्यों नहीं हो, माना की जकड़ी बेड़ियां पर सांस लेना क्यों मना है. रंग का तुम दम्भ भरते अब भी थकते क्यों नहीं हो, लाल रक्त हम में भी बहता मानव समझते क्यों नहीं हो, माना की जकड़ी बेड़ियां पर सांस लेना क्यों मना है. रात की अब राख में हम खाक बनकर घुटते जाएं, पीढ़ियां दर पीढ़ियां हम कटते मरते यूं ही जाएं, श्वेत नभ की रात है पर सांस लेना क्यों मना है. देख बरसों से ये घुटना कंठ पर यूं ही अड़ा है, काल भी बस काल होकर पर्वत बना सर पर खड़ा है, भविष्य तो था ही मरुस्थल पर सांस लेना क्यों मना है. देख बरसों से ये घुटना कंठ पर यूं ही अड़ा है, काल भी बस काल हो पर्वत बना सर पर खड़ा है, भविष्य तो था ही मरुस्थल पर सांस लेना क्यों मना है. अपने हिस्से की चांदनी भी चांद से लड़कर ही पाई, 2 किरण उजली सुबह की बीती निशा के तम में छुपाई. अपने हिस्से की चांदनी भी चांद से लड़कर ही पाई, 2 किरण उजली सुबह की बीती निशा के तम में छिपाई. हमने रख तो ली रात काली, हमने रख तो ली रात काली, पर सांस लेना क्यों मना है, सांस लेना क्यों मना है. So the summary in English is this: the oppressed people are all around the world. George Floyd's case is just a symbol, but if you see anywhere in the oppressed person is asking why I can't breathe. The first stanza just tells that we are shackled, we are oppressed from generation to generation, but why can't we breathe? At least let us breathe. The following stanzas also tells about the struggle they have during the life, how they are being persecuted differently in different ways by different people. Their future is not secured, but still they just want to breathe. But at least, but why they can't breathe? So that's a very rough translation. I'm sorry, I did not do a literal translation, but this was my poem. सांस लेना क्यों मना है.
Good, thank you. Okay, join the way now. Yeah. Join by there.
जैन भाई को कोई
जैन भाई
अनम्यूट कर
unmute.
दीजिए।
I think we kind of,
विजय जी आप शायद कर सकते हैं।
No, you can't. We only can ask for unmute. Jain bhai, please unmute yourself.
I'm okay now. Yes.
right, from again, no substitution from now
Yes.
on.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, my poem is about the absolute freedom. Is it possible? Because every time we try to get we get a freedom, we got rid of one chain and then we try to wear another chain. So absolute freedom in terms of relativity or Einstein's theory of relativity, how do we, because there are few words to understand the theory of relativity is the time is relative. One. Second is the time-space concept, because the world is three-dimensional, but when we add time as a fourth dimension, it's a time-space phenomena. And that takes you to the time travel understanding. Also, what it does, that the two observer looking at the same event, they have a different perception of the event. And so and the absolute is the true freedom, because being in the field of observation, we cannot find the true measurement. So sometimes we have to get out of that measurement. My experience I'm taking myself through that portal of time to the day we got the freedom, August 15, 1947. I still remember where I was around with whom, what was going on around, what was the mood of the country and the whole thing. So this is when we get out of gulami, or slavery, and out of that, and we become free, but then we become the slave of the freedom. That's the concept I'm trying to put in this poem. I'm going to read my poem first.
Thank you.
समय छे सापेक्ष, समय छे सापेक्ष, relative. समय छे सापेक्ष એમ આઇન્સ્ટાઈન બોલ્યા. સમય અવકાશનો ભ્રમ છે ભારે, સ્પેસ ટાઈમ. સમય અવકાશનો ભ્રમ છે ભારી, એના અવનવા રૂપ ભાસે. શિવની જટામાંથી વહેતી ગંગાના સ્રોત સમ. શિવની જટામાંથી વહેતી ગંગાના સ્રોત સમ, સમયના વેણ પણ અનંત. સમયના કોઈ મૂળ કે નથી એનો અંત. શિવની જટામાંથી વહેતી ગંગાના સ્રોત સમ, સમયના વેણ પણ અનંત. સમયને ના કોઈ મૂળ કે નથી એનો અંત. વર્તમાનની બારીએથી માર્યો એક ભૂસકો. વર્તમાનની બારીએથી માર્યો એક ભૂસકો, પોર્ટલ ઓફ ટુડે, પ્રેઝન્ટ. વર્તમાનની બારીએથી માર્યો એક ભૂસકો, ભૂતકાળના બ્રહ્માંડે જ્યાં વિચર્યા. થીજેલી યાદોમાં પુરાયા પ્રાણ. થીજેલી યાદોમાં પુરાયા પ્રાણ, વર્ષોના વાણા ઓગળ્યા. વર્તમાનની બારીએથી માર્યો એક ભૂસકો, ભૂતકાળના બ્રહ્માંડે જ્યાં વિચર્યા. થીજેલી યાદોમાં પુરાયા પ્રાણ, વર્ષોના વાણા ઓગળ્યા. 15મી ઓગસ્ટ 1947, સ્વતંત્રતાનો પ્રથમ દિન. સમયની પાવડીએ પહોંચ્યા ત્યાં. સમયની પાવડીએ પહોંચ્યા ત્યાં, being a time traveler. સમયની પાવડીએ પહોંચ્યા ત્યાં સાંભળ્યા હર્ષના નાદ. ગુલામીમાંથી મળી આઝાદી. હવે અમે આઝાદીના ગુલામ. ગુલામીમાંથી મળી આઝાદી. હવે અમે આઝાદીના ગુલામ. અમે સ્વતંત્રતાના ગુલામ. 15મી ઓગસ્ટ 1947 સ્વતંત્રતાનો પ્રથમ દિન. સાપેક્ષવાદના ચશ્મા પહેર્યા હતો. wearing the glasses of relativity. સાપેક્ષવાદના ચશ્મા પહેર્યા તો દીઠા સ્વાતંત્ર્યના અનેક રૂપ. સાપેક્ષવાદના ચશ્મા પહેર્યા તો દીઠા સ્વાતંત્ર્યના અનેક રૂપ. જાત જાતની સ્વતંત્રતા. જાત જાતની સ્વતંત્રતાના ભૂખ્યા લોક અપાર. People want freedom of different kind of definition of freedom. So જાત જાતની સ્વતંત્રતાના ભૂખ્યા લોક અપાર. ખૂણે ખૂણે જગમાં શોધો સાચું સ્વાતંત્ર્ય. Try to find the real freedom every corner of the world. ખૂણે ખૂણે જગમાં શોધું સાચું સ્વાતંત્ર્ય. જ્ઞાની બોલ્યા છોડ બધું. જ્ઞાની બોલ્યા છોડ બધું આ છે તારા અંતરમાં. The real freedom is in your own corner of your conscious or your heart. Don't try to look freedom elsewhere around you or any part of the world. હવે અમે આઝાદીના ગુલામ. હવે અમે આઝાદીના ગુલામ. અમે સ્વતંત્રતાના ગુલામ. સમય છે સાપેક્ષ એમ આઇન્સ્ટાઈન બોલ્યા. હવે અમે આઝાદીના ગુલામ. Thank you.
English, will you translate?
Yeah, I'll just give you a kind of rough translation.
Yeah, please.
If you have a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Einstein says the time is relative. And time, space, that is a very sometimes difficult to understand. We see the different concept or the different interpretation of what we see. Just like flowing Ganges from Shiv's jata, which is always eternal. Same thing, the flow of time is eternal, and time has no beginning. Time has no end. I jumped from the portal of present from today's window, and I went into the past of open cosmos. And that's where, when I see my old memories and the things I have gone through, suddenly it became live, and all the frozen ice, the Himshilas, they started melting. And that was 15th August. I was there. I was a time traveler. And that was the first day of freedom. And that's where I heard all the bells and happy sounds. But at that time, I got out of the British clutch. And then I became again, from that slavery, I became a slave of freedom.
Okay.
I wear the glasses, I start of relativity. And when I saw that, then I found that freedom has not just only one concept, but the freedom There are many, many kind of freedom. And every lot of people, millions of people, they try to find the freedom of from different things. Every corner of the world, every part of the space, I'm trying to find the absolute freedom, the freedom without any clutches, the
Good,
pure,
very good.
pure form of freedom.
All right.
And then the people who are learned, they told me, don't look outside. The freedom is right in the corner of your heart, in your conscious. Thank you.
All right. All right. Now, my friend, Professor Prafulla, is it the Prafulla Mishra from the Sanskrit professor from India, and he has this poem Ranangane in the war. Prafulla Mishra.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, all right.
Could you hear me?
Yes, we are.
रणाङ्गने इदानीं शुष्यन्ते तस्य नाम फलकम् उत्थाप्य प्रणयिनः प्रणयमोदेन अङ्गीकरोति असह्यां यन्त्रणाम् इदानीमपि परं कः जाने कदा मुद्रापितां पीडां विस्मृत्य सकल लोक प्रत्यक्षेण अपरस्याङ्के सहिष्यति सीमान्तं विमिमीतुं दिवानिशम् अश्वपृष्ठे अतिबाह्य न त्यजति स्वराज्यं न स्मरति कदा तस्यः समुत्पन्नः जदासिति रिपुदेशे ससुरस्य गेहे प्रमद्य जदा पश्यति प्रियं पुत्रस्य मस्तकं स्मरति तदा खड्गाघातेन लुण्ठति कश्चिन् मातरं दृष्ट्वा तस्य पत्नीं मनुपश्यति भ्रातृ भगिनी मातरं पित्रा मस्तकशोकेन शेषेण लुठति युद्धक्षेत्रे स्मदीये. In the battlefield, now one's own printing, imprint the nameplate of the beloved in the grappling of love, accepting the unbearable pain. But who knows when is the imprint of pain is in forgetting them? How? In presence, sleeping on others' body. In order to sojourn the border on horseback, day and night, not living his freedom. But today, when he, in order to sojourn the border on horseback, day and night, not living in freedom, but not remembering when his son is born, when did he came to enemy's land, his father-in-law house. By seeing his mother, but when he sees his son, remembering rolling of it, rolling by seeing the mother, brother, sister, mother, father heads are rolling. Allah in our field. Thank you.
All right. So the freedom at the battlefield. All right. I think his acoustic was not the greatest. Move on. Bittamani, Rampriya.
Good morning. I am Ramapriya. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. I am a retired engineer, mechanical, and I've been trying to write Kannada poems for a while. And this is my first attempt in SAPNE. The title of the poem is Swatantriyada Riti. ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯವದಂತು ಅದರ ರೀತಿಯದೆಂತು ತಿಳಿದವರು ತಿಳಿಸಿಯಾರು ಕುತಂತ್ರವ ತೊರೆದು ಹೃದಯ ಬಿಚ್ಚಿ ಜೀವಿಸುವುದು ಅದರ ನೀತಿ ಎನ್ನುವರು ಮಡು ಇದೆನ್ನದು ಎನ್ನವರೊಡನೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇರುವೆನೆನ್ನುತ್ತ ಹೆಡೆಯೆತ್ತಿ ಜಲಖಗ ಭೂಚರರ ಹೆದರಿಸಿ ನೆಲೆಸಿದ ಕಾಳಿಂಗ ದಡದ ತರುಗಳ ಹಸುವ ಹೀರಿ ಮಡುವ ಮಸಣದ ಕರಣವಾಗಿಸಿ ಬಿಡದೆ ತನ್ನವರೊಡನಿದ್ದು ಮೆರೆದ ಅಹಿರಾಜನ ರೀತಿಯೇನು ಪರರಹಿತಕ್ಕೆ ಎನ್ನ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಯೆಂದು ಪಣತೊಟ್ಟ ಮಡುವಿನ ದೇವ ಮೊರೆಯಿಟ್ಟು ವಾಸುದೇವನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಣ್ಣೀರ ಸುರಿಸುತ್ತ ಯಾಚಿಸಲು ಕರುಗಳಾಡಿಸುತ್ತ ಗೋಬಾಲರೊಡನೆ ಬೆಂದ ಮರಗಳ ಕಂಡು ಮರುಗಿ ಹೆಡೆಯೇರಿ ಕುಣಿದು ಶೋಧಿಸಿದ ಗೋಪಾಲ ಕೃತಿಯೇ ಯತಿಬಾಲ ಸ್ತ್ರೀಯರ ಅಸ್ಥಿರಾಶಿಯ ಕಂಡು ದಂಡಕಾವನ ವಾಸಿಯರಿಗೆ ಭೀತಿಯ ತೊಲಗಿಸುವೆನೆಂದು ಕ್ಷಿತಿಯ ರಕ್ಕಸಹೀನವಾಗಿಸುವೆನೆಂದ ಸೀತಾಪತಿ ಭರತಾಗ್ರಜ ಕೋಸಲಾಧೀಶ ರಘುರಾಮ ಪರಾಕ್ರಮದಿ ಸತಿಯ ಹೇತುವಾಗಿಸಿ ರಕ್ಕಸರ ನಿರ್ನಾಮಗೊಳಿಸಿದ ರೀತಿಯೇನು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರದ ರೀತಿ ತಾನು ತನ್ನದೆಂಬ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯ ತೊರೆದು ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತಲಿನ ಜೀವಿಗಳ ಬಾಧೆಗೆ ಎಣಗಾಗದೆ ಇದ್ದು ಮತ್ತೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸ್ವಾನುಭೂತಿಯ ತೋರಿ ದಬ್ಬಾಳಿಕೆಯ ಭೀತಿಯ ತೊಲಗಿಸುವ ರೀತಿಯದು ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯದ ನೀತಿ ಮತ್ತಾರನು ಜೀವಋಣಕ್ಕೆ ಪಣಗೊಳಿಸುವ ರೀತಿಯದಲ್ಲ. Now, a little translation in English. The title is Ways of Freedom. Queried as to the ways of freedom, wise do advise. Quit evil deeds, living with open hearts are the ways. This lake is mine, will live with my kith and kin, raising the hood, driving away aquatic, terrestrial, and aviary lives, even suck the lives of the trees on its shores. Kalinga turned the lake into an instrument of death. Defiant, the serpent king ruled over the lake. Is this a way? The deity of the lake, created for welfare of all, beseeched the Almighty with tears flowing. Herding the cows with the cowherd youths, saw the scorched trees. Gopala dove in and danced on the hood, thus purified the waters. Is this a way? Seeing the heap of bones of children and elders of saints, will ensure the earth of demons, said Rama to the dwellers of Dandaka. With valor and steadfastness, he destroyed the demons of Dandaka, set his wife as a ruse, the ruler of Kosala, the pride of Raghus. Is this a way? Ways of freedom is to live without craving for mine and I, not being a cause of torture for lives all around, displaying compassion and rejecting tyrannical rule. Removal of fear of tyranny is the way of freedom. It's not that enforces others to be slaves for life. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Amandip.
Hi everyone. My name is Amandeep Singh and my poem is in Punjabi titled Asan Thuri Jana Ho. We will keep marching on. Freedom does not come, it comes like free. It comes with a struggle and sacrifices, and that struggle never ends. But our job is to continue marching on and continue the struggle. So here's my poem in Punjabi, then I will give the English translation. ਕਾਲੀਆਂ ਕਟਾਵਾਂ ਵਾਲੀ ਰਾਤ ਅਸਾਂ ਟੁਰੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਕਾਲੀਆਂ ਕਟਾਵਾਂ ਵਾਲੀ ਰਾਤ ਅਸਾਂ ਟੁਰੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਪਿਆਸੇ ਦਿਲਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਿਆਰ ਅਸਾਂ ਜੜੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਦਿਲਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਿਆਰ ਅਸਾਂ ਜੜੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਅਸਾਂ ਟੁਰੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਅਸਾਂ ਟੁਰੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਕਾਲੀਆਂ ਕਟਾਵਾਂ ਵਾਲੀ ਰਾਤ ਅਸਾਂ ਟੁਰੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਦੇਖ ਤੂਫਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰਾਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਅਸਾਂ ਅੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਭਰਨੀ ਦੇਖ ਤੂਫਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰਾਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਅਸਾਂ ਅੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਭਰਨੀ ਦੇਖ ਮੌਤ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਅਸਾਂ ਸੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਦੇਖ ਮੌਤ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਅਸਾਂ ਸੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਅਨੇਕਾਂ ਸਿਤਮ ਅਸਾਂ ਜਰੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਅਸਾਂ ਟੁਰੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਕਾਲੀਆਂ ਕਟਾਵਾਂ ਵਾਲੀ ਰਾਤ ਅਸਾਂ ਟੁਰੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਕਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੁੱਕਣਾ ਅਸਾਂ ਕਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੁੱਕਣਾ ਅਸਾਂ ਕਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੁੱਕਣਾ ਅਸਾਂ ਕਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੁੱਕਣਾ ਅਸਾਂ ਪਰਛਾਵਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਡਰ ਕਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੁਕਣਾ ਅਸਾਂ ਪਰਛਾਵਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਡਰ ਕਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੁਕਣਾ ਅਸਾਂ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੌਸਲਾ ਭਰੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਅਸਾਂ ਟੁਰੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਕਾਲੀਆਂ ਕਟਾਵਾਂ ਵਾਲੀ ਰਾਤ ਅਸਾਂ ਟੁਰੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਪਿਆਸੇ ਦਿਲਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਿਆਰ ਅਸਾਂ ਜੜੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਦਿਲਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਿਆਰ ਅਸਾਂ ਜੜੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਅਸਾਂ ਟੁਰੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਅਸਾਂ ਟੁਰੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ ਕਾਲੀਆਂ ਕਟਾਵਾਂ ਵਾਲੀ ਰਾਤ ਅਸਾਂ ਟੁਰੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋ We will keep marching on. No matter how many hurdles are on the road ahead, we will keep marching on. The night is dark and dreary, but we will keep marching on. Looking at the impending storms, we will not slow down. We will not fear to see death at the doorstep. We will not cry. We will endure every oppression and we will keep marching on. We will never bow down. We will never die down. And we will never fear the shadows. We will keep mustering courage. We will keep marching on. We will keep marching on. Thank you.
Very good. Sunanda Mishra.
Namaste, Namaskar everyone. I'm Sunanda Mishra from Toronto. I'm an educationist and a publisher also. My title of the poem is Mukti, Freedom. I'm just first going through the summary of the poem. The soul will be free from mortal bondage. Life is always eager to grow in this Maya world, which entices me or us with falsehood and eternal desires. Even though I know this world is not real, still I wish for my dreams and feel eternal sadness for not attending my desires. Though my mind is like a stormy sea and seeks clear skies in this cloudy fantasy world, only God will give freedom to this soul. I am praying God to open these closed windows and bless the eternal soul for his eternal freedom. So it's in Oriya language. So Mukti. Mukti pathara jatri muaji, Mukti pathara jatri muaji, Mukti more swara, Chira mukti pai sada byakulita mana, Atmar amruta sandhane, ei abhijatra moro. Kintu ଭାଗ୍ୟର ଏ ଯେ ନିଷ୍ଠୁର ବିଡ଼ମ୍ବନା ସଦା ସନ୍ତୁଳିତ ମୋଇ ବଳୟରେ ଇଚ୍ଛା ଓ କାମନାର ଏ ମାୟା ଜଗତରେ ନାୟିକା ମୁଁ ଆଜି ସଦା ଇତସ୍ତତ କାକୁସ୍ଥ ମୋହଗ୍ରସ୍ତ ବେଢ଼ିଛି ମୋତେ ଅସତ୍ୟର ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରଜାଲ ତଥାପି ଜନ୍ମ ଜନ୍ମ ଧରି ସଂଘର୍ଷ କରୁଛି ତଥାପି ଜନ୍ମ ଜନ୍ମ ଧରି ସଂଘର୍ଷ କରୁଛି ନିଜ କର୍ମ ଫଳ ସହ ପାପ ନାହିଁ କି ପୁଣ୍ୟ ନାହିଁ ନାହିଁ କ୍ଷମା ଉଦାରତା ଆବେଗ ନାହିଁ କି ଅନ୍ତ ନାହିଁ ନାହିଁ ମୋରି କେଉଁ ଆକର୍ଷଣ ତଥାପି ମୁଁ ଯେ ଉବୁଟୁବୁ ହୁଏ ମୋର ସ୍ୱପ୍ନ ସାକାର ହେବାରେ ବ୍ୟର୍ଥତାରେ ଅଶାନ୍ତ ସମୁଦ୍ର ପରି ଅଧୀର ହୁଏ ମୋ ହୃଦୟ ଅଶାନ୍ତ ସମୁଦ୍ର ପରି ଅଧୀର ହୁଏ ମୋ ହୃଦୟ ଅସଂଯତ ମନ ସଂଘର୍ଷ ଜର୍ଜର ଅବସାଦ ଭରା ଏ ଜୀବନ ଅଜଣା ଭବିଷ୍ୟତରେ ଦିଶେ ନାହିଁ କେଉଁ ଆକାର ଶୂନ୍ୟ ମହାଶୂନ୍ୟ ଝୁଲନ୍ତ ନିଜ ଶରୀରର ସବାଧାର ଶୂନ୍ୟ ମହାଶୂନ୍ୟ ଝୁଲନ୍ତ ନିଜ ଶରୀରର ସବାଧାର ନିଜେ ହିଁ ଚାଲୁଛି ନିରତ କାନ୍ଧରେ ବୋହି ନିଜକୁ ମୁଁ ଏଇ ଧ୍ୱଂସ ମହୋତ୍ସବରେ ମହାକାଳର ମଦମତ ମାୟା ସଞ୍ଜରେ ସ୍ୱପ୍ନ ଦେଖେ ମୁଁ ଏକ ସ୍ୱର୍ଣ୍ଣାଭ ପୃଥିବୀର ହେ କୃଷ୍ଣ ହେ କେଶବ ହେ କୃଷ୍ଣ ହେ କେଶବ ହେ ଅନ୍ତର୍ଯାମୀ ବାଜି ଉଠୁ ତୁମ ବଂଶୀଶ୍ୱର ଖୋଲି ଯାଉ ମୋ ହୃଦୟର ରୁଦ୍ଧ ଦ୍ୱାର ତୁମରି ଦର୍ଶନେ ଖୋଲି ଯାଉ ମୋ ପାର୍ଥିବ ଆତ୍ମାର ନିବିଡ଼ ବନ୍ଦନ ହେ ମହାନାୟକ ହେ ମୋ ଜୀବନ ସାରଥୀ ତୁମ ବିନା କାହିଁବା ମୋ ଆତ୍ମାର ନିସ୍ତାର କାହିଁବା ତାହାରି ମୁକ୍ତି ଭରି ଦିଅ ପ୍ରଭୁ ତୁମରି ଅଶେଷ ବିଭୂତି ଅର୍ଥବାନ ହୋଇ ଉଠୁ ଏ ମୋ ଜୀବନ ଏତିକି ମୋ ଆକୁତି ପ୍ରଭୁ ମୁଁ ତ ଚିରକାଳ ସେଇ ସନ୍ଧାନର ଅଭିଯାତ୍ରୀ Thank you everyone.
Okay. All right. Mir Fajlul. All right. Mir Fajlul Kareem. Tabu Andhakar. In spite of Mukti.
Sab, unmute yourself.
Okay. Yeah. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't see. Could you remove this poster?
That's okay, though. You carry on. You're recording.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I first welcome all the new participants. I'm glad to see them, and especially the participants from India. They have taken so much trouble in the night time there and attending this. So I was waiting eagerly And it is, I tried to make an English translation. I will try to read later if we have time. The name of my poem is Tubuo Ondhokar. It is in Bengali. I just wrote this last night, and it's a very fresh one. পৃথিবীটা ঘুরছে, পৃথিবীটা ঘুরছে, নিজ অক্ষাংশে ঘুরছে, সূর্যের চারিদিকে ঘুরছে। এই ঘূর্ণন যেন চিরস্থায়ী, বন্দি পৃথিবী। আলো আর আধার দেখে বারবার, দেখে স্বাধীন স্বাধীন ধূমকেতুর উন্মত্ত নৃত্য, আর দেখে মিন্ময় মানুষের আনন্দ, ক্রন্দন, হাহাকার। Sorry, I forgot to do the video. Yeah. So, প্রাণহীন মাতৃ ধরিত্রী করেছে জীবনের সংস্কার। সে শত কোটি বছর হতে মাটি হয়েছে মানুষ, আর মানুষ হয়েছে স্রষ্টার তলোয়ার, অথবা নিউক্লিয় সংযোজন, শক্তির সম্ভাব্য সীমারেখা। করিল জ্ঞানের প্রসার আকাশচুম্বী, অন্ধকার পৃথিবী আলোয় আলোয় ভরা, স্লোগানে স্লোগানে রাজনীতির হুঙ্কার, কলুষিত ধর্মের আচ্ছাদন, মানুষের রক্তের ফিঙ্কি প্রবাহ, অথবা গণহত্যা আর জাতি নিধন। অথচ একই সাথে ভিন্ন ধর্মীর আনন্দ আস্ফলন। পৃথিবী এখনো ঘুরছে নিজ অক্ষাংশে, নির্বিকার ঘুরছে, সূর্যের চারিদিকে চিরস্থায়ী ঘুরছে। বন্দি পৃথিবী গণতন্ত্র খুঁজে বেড়ায়, ধূমকেতুর আলোয় যেন মোহিনী দূতী, অথচ সভ্য ধরণীতে তবুও অন্ধকার। Thank you. This was in Bengali. So the English translation goes like this. Still it is dark. The world is spinning, rotating at its own latitude, revolving around the sun. The rotation seems to be permanent, the captive world indeed. Repeatedly brightened with the light and fall into the darkness. Watches the cracked dances of shooting comets. Oh, see the earthy humans, see their growing joy, sad cry, and wailing. The lifeless Mother Earth gave birth to lives from her own clay. Human beings have existed for thousands of years from that birth. Oh, the human has become the sword of Creator, or nuclear fusion, which is possibly the boundary of eternal energy. Then the human of the world divided the earth for own comfort. Men obtained power of knowledge as high as the sky. So what? The dark world is full of light of knowledge. Does it matter? But full of the roar of politics and slogans there, under the cover of messy religious faiths. World always sees jet flow of human blood, and so many slaughters and genocides, but at the same time, declaration of blasphemy. And that temptation of false democracy, the world is still spinning, rotating indifferently at own latitude, revolving around the sun forever. Oh, the captive world seeks democracy. Oh, there is growing charm of light of comets, but in our civilized world, it is still the dark. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Vivek.
Namaskar. Today I'm going to recite a poem titled Urdu. It's about my love for Urdu language. It pays tribute to the Urdu language and poets and highlights the freedom to speak, read, recite, sing in Urdu or any language, including our mother tongues, is the most important freedom, it's the most important right. I hope you'll be able to follow the poem. There's not going to be a translation, but I'll mention that I do use a couple of phrases from Ghalib, Iqbal, Faiz, and Mir in the poem. Urdu. अब तो जुबां पर चढ़ गई है, अब तो जुबां पर चढ़ गई है, उतरती नहीं है जुबां से उर्दू। अब तो जुबां पर चढ़ गई है, उतरती नहीं है जुबां से उर्दू। हर एक बात पे कहते हो, सीखाए पंडित जी कहाँ से उर्दू। दादी माँ डरती है इस्लाम जाम से, दादी माँ डरती है इस्लाम जाम से, गालिब को नहीं समझती। शब्दों का दीन और मजहब न पूछो, इश्क का बयां है उर्दू। मीर ने सुर्ख किया, मीर ने सुर्ख किया, फैज ने पहली सी मोहब्बत को ठुकराया। गुलजार साहिर का ख्याल, फिल्मी भारत का वरदान है उर्दू। ईमानदारी से सुनो मीठी लगेगी, ईमानदारी से सुनो मीठी लगेगी, पियकड़ों का आलाप नहीं। हजारों ख्वाहिशों की ना सही, कई दर्दों का निदान है उर्दू। उर दो अर्थ एक, उर दो अर्थ एक, रूह दो रूह एक, देश कई दर्द एक, रुझान कई रवानी एक, बिछड़ों के सपनों का जहां है उर्दू। दाएं से बाएं चलो, चाहे बाएं से दाएं, दाएं से बाएं चलो, चाहे बाएं से दाएं, पहुंचोगे वहीं बीच में। समझो ना तो बात बेतुकी है, जाने जहां हिंदी है, हिंदुस्तान है उर्दू। आलिफ से अल्लाह तक, आलिफ से अल्लाह तक, पनघट से मजार तक, मौसिकी बस। आलिफ से अल्लाह तक, पनघट से मजार तक, मौसिकी बस। ख्वाजाओं की इबादत, नबाबी महफिलों का अरमां है उर्दू। विवेक बेच मत फिरंगी को, विवेक बेच मत फिरंगी को, अपने जज्बात उसकी जुबान में। विवेक बेच मत फिरंगी को, अपने जज्बात उसकी जुबान में। कर खुदी को बुलंद रेखता, तेरा वजूद तेरी पहचान है उर्दू।
Okay, all right. Okay, no, very good. All right. And Pritapal is not here today, I think. Pritapal said he'll be. Is Pritapal here? Not here. I don't think so. And Puppy. Puppy, and then we'll have Godavari if she's there still. She has missed. Okay, Puppy ji.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
गुड आफ्टरनून, नमस्कार एवरीवन। मैंने कैद के बारे में लिखा है, और कैद या इम्प्रिजनमेंट, और इसका ट्रांसलेशन तो नहीं, पर एक छोटी सी समरी इंग्लिश में मैं बाद में दूंगी। पर पहले कविता सुनिए। कैद। कैद में मुझे ये एहसास बहुत ज़बरदस्त था कि मैं कैद में हूँ। कैद में मुझे ये एहसास बहुत ज़बरदस्त था कि मैं कैद में हूँ, और इसलिए मैं दूसरों से ज़्यादा आज़ाद थी, और इसलिए मैं दूसरों से ज़्यादा आज़ाद थी। मुझे एहसास था कि मेरे हिस्से की रोशनी मुझ तक पहुँची नहीं है। मुझे एहसास था कि मेरे हिस्से की रोशनी मुझ तक पहुँची नहीं है। एक एक किरण जो मेरी है, मुझे छीननी पड़ेगी, मुझे छीननी पड़ेगी, अंधेरे के कीड़ों में बीननी पड़ेगी। यहाँ अब देखिए प्रेजेंट टेंस में लिखा है कि यहाँ फर्श ठंडा है, ये इतना गंदा है कि पानी का नाम कुछ अलहदा रखना पड़ेगा। यहाँ फर्श ठंडा है, ये इतना गंदा है कि पानी का नाम कुछ अलहदा रखना पड़ेगा। रात करवटें बदलते हैं, सांपों की तरह निकलते हैं जो मैंने कोड़े दिन में ओढ़े हैं। रात करवटें बदलते हैं, सांपों की तरह निकलते हैं जो कोड़े मैंने दिन में ओढ़े हैं। कंबल यहाँ खाल सहलाते नहीं, नाखून अपने कटाते नहीं। कंबल यहाँ खाल सहलाते नहीं, नाखून अपने कटाते नहीं। नुकीले रेशे जो मेरी खाल पे रात इसने छोड़े हैं, नुकीले रेशे जो रात मेरी खाल पे इसने छोड़े हैं। मेरी थाली का भात खराब है, मेरी थाली का भात खराब है। पथरियों में कुछ चावल रखे हैं, पथरियों में कुछ चावल रखे हैं, लेकिन भूख में जिद ये, इसे गौर से सुनिए, लेकिन भूख में जिद ये कि मर जाऊंगी, भूख में जिद ये कि मर जाऊंगी मगर पत्थर नहीं खाऊंगी। मगर भूख में जिद ये कि मर जाऊंगी मगर पत्थर नहीं खाऊंगी। अंधों के इस गांव में मुझे बचपन से अंधेरा दिखाया गया, अंधों के इस गांव में मुझे बचपन से अंधेरा दिखाया गया। आँखों में सुरमा सजाकर रूप की रिश्वत से चुप कराया गया, आँखों में सुरमा सजाकर रूप की रिश्वत से चुप कराया गया। और मुझ पागल को देखो, और मुझ पागल को देखो, मुझे सुरमे की सलाखों के भी पार देखने की ख्वाहिश, मुझे सुरमे की सलाखों के भी पार देखने की ख्वाहिश, वो चीज़ देखने की ख्वाहिश जो मैंने कभी देखी ही नहीं, जो मैंने कभी देखी ही नहीं। मुझे छोटी सी धरती और ज़रा से आसमान में रहना सिखाया गया, मुझे छोटी सी धरती और ज़रा से आसमान में रहना सिखाया गया। मगर मुझे एडविन हबल की तरह, मगर मुझे एडविन हबल की तरह ये होश था कि आसमां की हद नहीं होती, मगर मुझे एडविन हबल की तरह ये होश था कि आसमां की हद नहीं होती। वहाँ दूर इस डगर के, इस गांव के, उस शहर के, उस महानगर के, उस छोटे और बड़े घर की भी छत के ऊपर मुझे पंखों से आसमां में सुराख करना था, मुझे पंखों से आसमां में सुराख करना था। और एक दिन मैं फुर्र से उड़ गई, और एक दिन मैं फुर्र से उड़ गई, क्योंकि मुझे ये एहसास था कि मैं कैद में हूँ। अब भी लोग मुझे कभी कभी, इसे सुनिए गौर से, अब भी लोग मुझे कभी कभी आसमां की हद दिखाया करते हैं, अब भी लोग मुझे कभी कभी आसमां की हद दिखाया करते हैं। धरती के छोर से गिरने की चोट से डराया करते हैं, धरती के छोर से गिरने की, द फ्लैट अर्थर्स, धरती के छोर से गिरने की चोट से डराया करते हैं। और मैं फट से समझ जाती हूँ, और मैं फट से समझ जाती हूँ, इनकी गलती नहीं, ये तो कैद में है, इनकी गलती नहीं, ये तो कैद में है। शुक्रिया, सुनने के लिए शुक्रिया। छोटी सी इंग्लिश में समरी है। माई ओपनिंग लाइन इन दिस पोम इज दैट आई एम फ्री simply because I was hyper aware of my bondage. Simply because I was hyper aware of my bondage. This poem is about freedom, freedom that begins entirely with a thought. It's so intrinsic that it has nothing to do with externally imposed bars or any restrictions outside. Freedom, which is like the color of the blue sky. It cannot be questioned. It simply appears every morning from within. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Right. Okay. Rahul probably is not there. You want to come. So, Godavari.
Yes. Namaskar and good afternoon to everyone. I'm Geeta Patil from Cambridge, Massachusetts. I'm a drug safety specialist working in a pharma company. The title of my poem is A Call for Freedom. Yeah, freedom, the summary of my poem goes like this. Freedom has different meanings in the world. For the poet, freedom is the absence of subjection to foreign domination and having a government of his or her country by his or her own people. It is everyone's wish to be free from the restraint to act, speak, or think as one wants and as everyone else does in the world, and also possess the power and resources to fulfill one's needs and country's purposes. Everyone wishes to be free or at liberty to enjoy the joy of freedom in one's own land with one's own people as an eternal bliss. Freedom is a strong seed planted in me in a great need. I want to tell the whole world, hey you, I live here too, as just as you do. I want my freedom just as you do. I know for sure freedom never comes near compromise or fear. I wish to tell you I have as much right as you all do. I stand to stand on my own feet, run my country for my people, and own the land and grow and vend what I want. I would break your chained restraint and make you run away from my land and give myself the freedom, the one I have always dreamt for and wished to live in a place where peace and love are present, where my ancestral inspiration and their zillion gene pool resides. The freedom I seek is my birthright. It is something worth to kill and die for it. It is something deserving to start another war or another fight. For me, not good at all to remain silent or be controlled, rather than seek the joy of freedom that my legends have died for. Now, ready to do right things and everything to have my fair dear dream rooted well in my soil and in my heart. We all know where there is freedom, there lies all joy. Then happiness flows in there. We realize as freedom song moves in the breeze, the green grass wave their wands. Countryside fills up with golden glow. Blue sky fill with magic. And night become awakened. People slowly turn out to be enlightened. And the skyline above wings with wonder how people's soul go far past infinity into the distance of forever just to discern the fact for sure their freedom is real and eternal. Thank you everyone for listening to my poem patiently. Jai Hind. Thank you.
All right. All right. Very good. First, I think how many 24 people are still there, which is good. So will you kind of please acknowledge all people by applause? Can you all unmute yourself and applaud all people for the beautiful, beautiful work before I engage you with my thoughts on the Vedas? So can we do an applause? All right. I think people worked so hard, recited so well. People did fantastic composition. See, I must say that this kind of a thing, multiple languages, and that we have 24 people still. We started with 28, now 24, not bad, not bad. And also, I think our Spanish friend is still around, and our Sanskrit friends are around, our India friends are still around. And I must tell all people that the India is not the scene. People are closing on India August 15th or Shutantra, political freedom. We are poets. So given that, I would kind of request all, again, as we continue, to stretch yourself that India is not a political unit, but it is a thought unit, an old unit. So when we're saying South Asia or India, we're not saying that this country or this geography or this place or this language. We're talking about humanity. So before I say my poem, which I struggled, I have to thank Amandip for the beautiful slides we saw. That's his idea, and he has been doing it for many, many years. So can you all do the similar kind of applause as you did before? Please unmute yourself and for a few minutes, we can thank the people who are really operating Amandip. So next person I should mention.
I can't keep an eye on you.
Manish Srivastava, who is our web host. He's the one who is recording. Can you unmute and something? Okay. Unmute and applaud Manish Srivastava. Manish is a videographer, editor, poet, and intern. So we're so happy to have him on board on this mission. Then, of course.
Oh, you're clapping. Now Dad is, because he's on low key. Come here.
Wait. No. If you are noise there, please unmute yourself. Now the Prem and Chandu. Chandu has been with us for a long time. This time he got busy, but so Prem and Chandu, they helped us with the registration. Will you also kindly applaud? Okay, all right. And then, of course, you all people are wonderful. Many other people have come, and we will have. I want to engage people in some discussion if we can. So I'm kind of trying to suggest that this is a forum where we listen to each other, we understand each other. And the plan has been also from the beginning that we're all technical. We live in a technological society. Black hole was discovered only 2 days ago. So these things are happening in the world. We're in the midst of it. So that is where I want to present my thoughts on this. Now you can meet yourself on my thoughts on the Vedas. Now people talked about various things like the Swadhina, freedom, independence. I heard the word mukti, which is liberation. I heard the word of oppression. Chandu had this dog, relativity, Jayant Bhai brought in. So all these are words. The question comes, when did man know that that's the word? When did man know that he is not free? Because every child, as you can see, experience, knows that free. So freedom is not a word, freedom is a state. I can move, I can go, I breathe, I go there. So the question is, that whole process that the man can go, move, procure, eat, do as he likes. So just like a kid, then the man stumbles. Stumbles by your own fault, you slip. And then you get up possibly and say, well, it's okay, I learned that this is slippery, this is water. So that is how the knowledge we think got developed in time. The man discovered ground, mountains, rivers, and so it moved on. Then, but that does not make the discovery of freedom, because that doesn't say that I'm not free. That is, I can fall sick, I can heal myself. So those things probably happened. So the topic I'm trying to present to you is from the Vedas, which myself and my friend here, Ramapriya, he's here. We have been studying these Vedas for a few years now. And Premanagar also is a part of our group. And we have been thinking about how the language became, or how the word became word. When did the man discover that I have different states? A state of myself, and then a state where I cannot escape. And I think Manish did a picture of George Floyd, and that's the state that you are occupied. People talked about slavery. They were netted as a state where you say, so the original man might have confronted a snake, tiger, something that I can't escape. My freedom is lost. I'm done. I'm done. So the thought is, in the Vedas, so they are kind of talking those kind of situations that man discovers. What is the rain? What is this animal? What is this fire? How does it spread? So now what is this fear I'm with? What I'm fearing with? And do I have an escape? I want to make this thing because I thought I'll thank people, also let people discuss this as India's contribution to the world. And I'm just giving my example as a part of what a poem is. Is poem a bundle of words, or a poem is a thought? And thought is internal, how intense. So that kind of a thought that George Floyd might have when he's stuck. So that is not, I can't breathe. That is there a savior? Can someone throw this man away and save me? So the idea of this Vedic stanza that I will read to you is, we talk about religions and so on, superpower, something beyond, but this could be the origin of it. That is, now this is beyond me. My freedom, my movement is lost because I did not know people can occupy me. People can suckle me. People have better guns. Yesterday, somebody killed someone. So those kind of things, in the sense, in a situation when you suddenly are not able to help yourself. So the Vedic stanza is a part of the, so the many different Vedas are there. Again, Vedas are not the most ancient script. Things may be happening before that. I'm talking about the thought of original man when he says that, is there somebody who can help me? because I am in a situation where I can't escape. So that they call, so it is called Abhaya Shukta. Abhaya Shukta means who can make me feel less. I'm taking from the Atharva Veda, and this is the, it has 20 different books of Atharva Veda. The 19th book, and they're called suktas, are little short poems. The reason I'm kind of presenting this, because the person who wrote this could be one among us. He's a poet. And we all might have also come across a situation where all our intelligence, our tools, our own strength, our resources might not be enough to confront the obstacle. Now that situation, if you have not come across, please do come across. Trying to do tasks which are beyond you, and then you see what this concept of savior. So this is what brings about. So this man, I don't know exactly what fear they would say, but they are kind of first discovering fear of the concept, that fear can happen. So this so-called, and then once the fear is a concept, so this large quantity, superpower, God, that can be feared. And in many religions, we have God is feared and so on. So the origin of all that. So I'll say in Sanskrit, so that's the English translation, but I will then read the way I interpose that, the way we will do as we confront fear. Because what I'm saying is, even though fear discovered in the Vedic time, but this concept of, just like George Floyd, has not gone away. It might not come to us, but we are poets, which means that what is his mind is thinking, can somebody come and throw this man away? Because I thought so far I could manage myself. I could drive, I could pay, I could smile, I could do. Now I cannot. So they call this man, this superpower, they give a name called Indra in this. So I'll kind of read quickly. Yata Indra bhayamahe tato no abhayam krudhi. Magavat saddhi tabatung nautivihi. Viddiso bi mrudhojahi. So, O Indra, you have all powers. You can really take away this dusha. Dusha is the enmity. Indrang by anuradhang havamahe. Anuradhyashma dipada chatuspada. Manashana arurushi richa. Gurbishu richi Indra. Duho binashaya. So whatever difficulties I have, please destroy them. Please destroy them. That doesn't mean the man is rescued, but it's a wishful thinking. So hope comes from this process. Indra snatota butraha parashphano baranyaha. Sharakhita charamata samadhyata sapaschat sapurastano astu. We have known that you have rescued people before. This whole thought, the man, hopefulness of the man says, probably I can be rescued. The so-called invoking a superpower comes only when you think that that's the path forward. And that's probably built into the life. So that's what it is. Yes, I have heard that you have killed various people in the past and so on, and you have this thing. So make that protection around me. Gurano lokamanune vidwan suvan jyoti avayam swasti. Ugrato indrastavirasya bahu. Upakhema sarana brahanta. I know that your hands are long and strong. Stretch them. Come to me and then pick me up. Avayam karayati antarikhyam avayam dyava prithvi ubhayame Abhayam Paschat, Abhayam Purastat, Uttarat Adarat, Abhayam Tunastu. Let there be Abhaya. Abhaya is the lack, no fear all around me. Antarikya is air, and then Prithvi. Abhayam Mitrat, Abhayam Amitrat. So let me, I be fearless from my own people because they have left me. And Amitrat, from my enemies because they are fighting with me. So this is the loneliness of man. And we see many in hospitals, we see many in different places, and someone we don't know. So it's a kind of tribute to this whole process that my whole strength, my operation is not propelling me any further. Help me. So I took that and then I tried to project it in Uriya. The logic is, so what we have not discovered it, so there is a chanda to this. So that Ramapriya, we can trying to discover that how this particular song the poet wrote, how he will communicate to this unknown power. It's not words, not know what language the power speaks. Supposedly there is a melody to it, assumption. So that melody, I thought, is a mental melody, neurological in the brain. So I kind of tried to see that, assuming that you are in that situation. So my Odia title is Abhaya Maguchi. I'm asking for being fearless. And then I put a little tune of my own, assuming that this is the tune that I will beg that please rescue me, I can't do anymore. Ahe Prabhu Niranjana, Ahe Prabhu Indra, Bhaya Moro Nivaraya, Abhaya Narendra. Prabhu Pone Tume Gona, Nahi Ta Tulana, Satru Tharu Rakhya Karo, Kore Mu Prarthana. Ahe Savada Prabhu, Durdinare Padi Maguchi, Muhi Tumari Bihu. Prabhu Devata, Prabhu Deva, Tuma Bina Usaha Nahi Ki, Prabhu Tume Deva. So now this whole thing is, man is silent. He's not speaking. So this is those silence, those emotions you are trying to cause in words, that I will rescue myself. I will get away. So this suckle will go. This bondage will go. This bayonet will go. And probably they may not go, and so on, depending upon what the other man does. And then I say next, I have an English translation. I do the here. I'm in utter distress where I cry. Remembering your majesty gives me immense joy. You are the most exultant, incomparable in might. I pray to you to help me in my lonely fight. Oh my Lord, I beg your mercy. Please help your ward. You are my only savior. I have no recourse. Oh my life's power. So the acknowledgement, my life has a power. Wishful thinking. Second line here. Asura Ganjana Prabhu, Tume Baraniya, Rakha Karo Mote Prabhu, Huye Muathoya. The trouble doesn't end quickly. The peril continues, and hence the stanzas. Bhujadvaya Ugratamam, Nahita Kolona, Satru Tharu Rakhya Karo, Kore Mu Prarthana. Tuma Sarana Prabhu, Kabachare Khanji Diya He, Prabhu Tumari Vibhu. प्रभु देव तुम बिना सहा नहीं की प्रभु तुम्हें देव. Kavach is a word which is like this, they call tabiz. So that's in the sense that he can protect you. So give me protection, make my skin stronger. Let the bayonet not hit me. So the English I wrote, you kill demons, all applaud. Please extend a hand, your mighty sword. Rescue me from this well. I beg you, my shelter, my refuge. I ring your bell. Oh my Lord, I beg your mercy. Please help your word. You are my only savior. I have no recourse. Oh my life's power. And the last stanza is Asisodayaka Prabhu Tuma Krupa Vikhu Mage Muhi Nirbhoyata Monobakyo Chakyu. So this is an acknowledgement. It could be that I'm fearless in my mind, fearless in my words, fearless in my sight. Rame Muhi Nisatrude Akase Pabone Bule Muhi Nibhrantire Prithvire Jalare Tuma Sarana Prabhu Abhaya Khanji Diya Hai Prabhu Tumari Vibhu Prabhu Deva तुम बिना सहा नहीं की प्रभु तुम्हें देवो. So this is the wistful thinking, which probably happens in stages where not only I escape this particular torture now, I'll probably going to a new place. Maybe I'll be free. I'll fly, move around. Bless me, O my Lord. I beg your protection. Let my mind, sight, and speech be pure. No confusion. Let me travel fearless in sky, in the air. Let me walk fearless on land. There be no fear in water. O my Lord, I beg your strength. Please help your word. You are my life's anchor. I will win. O my life's power. So this is kind of my analysis of what the man might be thinking, call for freedom. And so thank you. I just want to share this so that we may, the remaining time we have, maybe we can discuss a little bit that what is. And so the sentiment of our all thinking is we're not speaking the poetry, poems in languages, we're expressing emotion. And that emotion is call for freedom. The call for freedom are not words that desire to be free. But then the question is there a desire or you're already free and unknowingly you have become unfree? And then you want to break that cycle and then you can't. And then you're looking for somebody else. Thank you. Thank you again. I think thank you for listening to me. I just wrote last night. So let us discuss, if you can, on the different poets, each other. Everybody did so well. So 12. So we can 10 minutes. We can probably go. Anybody has any comments, thoughts? We have 20.
The first poem, which is read on Kashmir, I think is very nice, because I have also a collection of poem on Kashmir, the heaven of India, which is said as Gar Firdaus bar rui Jameen ast, Hamin astu, Hamin astu, Hamin ast. But how that heaven has become hell by the terrorism and the genocide. And gradually, I remember the story of Krishna Sarpa, Panduga Krishna Sarpa Katha of Panchatantra, when the toad calls a snake to take revenge of each contestant, and finally he found that his own family is completely emaciated by this food. So similarly, the Kashmir has suffered a lot foolishness due to their foolishness and due to their false promises of their politicians. So this poem, which is read by the first poem reader, is very nice and
Very
reminds
good.
of
Very good.
my poem. Thank you.
Very good. All right. Now, Sunana is a good poet and she has also emotions. She can present herself very extremely well. Sunana, you want an acknowledgement? Is Sunana around? I see her.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, you want to, Professor Prafulla Mishra is the Vice Chancellor of a university in Bihar, I think now, but he's a Sanskrit scholar. That's how I know him in Bangkok some years ago.
Chancellor of Agriculture University.
Okay, all right. So anyway, he likes your poem, and so you want to respond to him?
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think language is an ocean, and this is my drop to that ocean. We all take a lot from our language, from our culture. So this is my attempt to give it back, and that's what I can say. Yeah.
Good.
I like if you read my poems on Kashmir.
Yeah,
I would love that. Yeah, sure.
Dominic,
Okay.
I have said details. Okay, anybody else? Yeah, who is this?
Yeah, this is Kishore. Yes, this is Kishore. Yeah, I like lot of poems. बहुत अच्छे उपमान सुनने को मिले. Especially जो मेरे मन पे बैठ गया, एक तो definitely कश्मीर की कविता थी, तो वो मतलब उस पे आया. और एक sorry. Yes. I will try. Sorry.
No.
So yeah.
Don't have to be, but international broadcasting and so on. It's not really
It will not be anyway.
Professional. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I especially like the one Chandu Shah, Sri Chandu Shah. He very beautifully portrayed the emotions, and out of a very simple event, you and your dog looking at each other, and then his need for and his craving for freedom, and how vast definition of a freedom can be. So it was very interesting. And
Chandu,
the other one,
Chandu, you want to respond? Yeah, Chandu. You want to say that how the dog thing came to your mind?
Very interesting. I've been seeing a lot of dogs at a lot of friends. I don't have one, but a lot of friends' house. Every time I see a dog, I think there's something going on in their mind, and they want to talk about it. They want to write an essay about what they think about everything around them. And I just picked up from there that they want to be freed up from this dog life, but it's that they just can't express that they want that. So it's just a thought.
Suckle of the dog that we talk about, and the suckle.
I have also a poem. I have also a poem on a person carrying a dog every day. And that I remember.
The question is, when does the suckle dog or suckle man compromise? Say that. So again, Indian literature is rich on this. That is, we accept the suckles. There's a beautiful Sanskrit dramatist called Bhasha, and he writes about this, that we hate suckles, but once the food comes, the care comes, the comfort comes, we say it's okay. So the question is, that process we have to understand, that why did the dog, once this Fred, suppose is Fred, it comes back to the same house. And because if it is thinking, and many of us also we do. All right. Any other comment? Very good though, but it's a great poem, Chandu. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, this is
and create this thing. But my point is, we kind of gradually, this whole process of, we may explore a little more on this freedom. because freedom is not really a sentiment that we say he's not free, I'm not free. It is the threshold of comfort. You know, in your home, in your family, in your relationships. I think Ninaji talked about relationships. So this whole truthfulness.
So I would like to talk about a couple of poems here.
Yeah.
So one is definitely, you know, everyone is talking about Sunaina's Kashmiri poem. So Chandubhai's, I call him king of metaphors, and the way he, you know, plays with the word, and you know how it's amazing. The second poem is again the metaphors which Amit has used, those you know, the precedents with the shikhar or the choti. It was very nice. And obviously, you know, another one is Poppies. She is also very well versed in how to use the metaphors, and the way, you know, she talked about the scratching of the blanket, the kambal, the nakhun, and how a person in CAD feels about कोड़े ओढ़कर सोए हैं. Very nicely done. So those poems were.
But your own one also very good though. Your haikus concept, the way you also present your poem, I thought that was very beautiful, lovely.
So it's a very, I mean, unfortunately, what happened? The poem I wrote, I lost it right before I left. So I had to bring the George Floyd's "Saans Lena Kyun Mana Hai." But thank you very much.
Very good, very good. Anybody else?
I just want to make one quick comment of this forum. As sir, if you remember, a couple of years ago, we had mother as a subject.
Right.
And I wrote one about mother, and this was tribute to mother, where a man is carrying his mother for a pilgrimage in Pandharpur. So that was just a thought that came out of this forum to write for this, but that has become very, very nice, long, in-depth poem for me. And it's been very well appreciated. So this forum has some meaning to it, some creativity in it by itself.
Well, would be nice. It's a late discovery. All right. Anybody else? Poppy, you want to say something?
Yes.
Poppy came late. Poppy showed up, I think yesterday or day before, and she was still there. I said, and somehow I was trying to think 25, 24. So I said, well, also her. Then I thought, let me see what she says. And she's a Qaid. Then I thought this may be really tail into what I want to convey. Qaid. And she did. She did. So very good. I'm glad that my point is the whole concept that Qaid that came to you and that you called, and the time I was kind of struggling myself whether I will engage people in this kind of abstract thinking.
Yes.
In a
Thank
manner,
you,
and I'm so it was very timely. I said, how did that happen?
Thank you, Vijayada. Sunaina, thank you for reminding me of participating here. So I'm grateful to Sunaina. Her poetry was exemplary as always. Chandu Bhai, I was telling him its poetry is so bizarrely creative. I love it. I love the way he presents it, what he could, the concepts that he's able to connect with such depth. It's amazing. Same thing for Manish. I was telling Manish that I saw a clip of a police officer pushing a guy's neck in like a just a show that used to be like, you know, probably 15 years ago. So police is trained to do what they're doing, and I love how he has put it across. The opening line or the theme of the poetry itself is a poem. Saans lena kyun mana hai. Amazing. Quite exemplary. Vivek's poetry, I have to acknowledge, I loved it so much about Urdu. I have to connect with him outside of this forum. But amazing poets today. Prem Nagarji, amazing poetry.
Good, very good. Vivek had been here long in MIT, and he was a part of our program 15, 20 years ago.
Said that, yes, he lived in Cambridge when I lived in Cambridge.
Oh, you did? Okay, all right. I came to know you later than Vivek. All right. Anybody else?
So, Mr. Ajay, this is Amit. So I just wanna thank Manish Bhai to, acknowledge my poem. would like to add, I am not good in speaking like him or anybody else here, but would like to add that all the poets, he actually took names, Sunaina ji, Poppy, Vivek ji, Prem Nagar ji, all Chandu bhai, all did really great with some new, entries here. So this is great, opportunity, great platform for all of us to actually present ourselves as well as learn. Thank you.
Sajid is still around. Sajid is the oldest partner here, I think. And Sajid, do you have any comments to how we are doing so far
Yeah.
in this kind of a indeterminate journey?
Yeah.
So no, this is wonderful. It's really just wonderful as always. We just have to cultivate together, and there are many voices, and that's expression of freedom itself. So thank you to all. I really very much enjoyed every single one. So thank you.
Good.
Onward.
Sajid. And Kushagra kind of came, the Sanskrit poet. I think I've not met him. Kushagra, you want to comment on the creativity of people and the efforts that we are doing? You have any comments on it?
Yes,
Kushagra thinks about money. We don't have any money here. But then what is your thought about India and the way we are kind of presenting different languages and so on?
I thought that it was a very great initiative. I have been associated with SAPNE for the last 1 year. And every time I am just fascinated by the variety of topics that are presented in all these different languages. And another thing that I always notice is how Sanskrit is deeply interwoven across these different languages. For instance, I heard the poems in Odia, in Bengali, and it is very easy to understand if you have a strong base in Sanskrit. So that the concept of unity in diversity and the richness of Sanskrit that underlies all these different languages is always very fascinating to note. Sorry, I have a little bit of a construction going on in my apartment right now.
That's okay.
So there might be some background noise, but I'm delighted to be a part of this and very grateful to you, Mishraji, and also the other organizers.
That's okay. Construction only talks about money, right? Good. So I have also, I think I see here, this will be the last probably, Dr. Shakuntala Gupta. I think I have seen her once. I've never met her. She's like one of my Facebook friends, and she's in India. I think she's a poet. Shakuntala ji, do you have any comments on what you are doing and what attracted you to join us? Shakuntala Gupta. Did you have a poem to read? You are unmute yourself.
Yeah, please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Unmute now.
Yes.
Okay. Good evening and namaskar to everyone. And I was just a listener. I wanted to listen all of you, and it is my good fortune today that I could participate as a listener. And I heard so many perspectives and views, and on call of freedom, and it was very enlightening, and I could understand and relate to almost all the points. And uh, particularly Jayan sir, Vasant sir, right now I'm feeling like a time traveler myself. So
join us next time.
Yes, next time.
Our this thing is we every 3 weeks we do. So August we'll have what we call the folk poetry. So we will announce it. You can join, and maybe we'll take the freedom thing into there. And then we have the international folk poetry in October. So let us take the blessings from Mahendra Bhai before we close. Mahendra Bhai, you want to bless it all? The veteran Mahendra Bakshi, the commentator. Come on, where are you? No microphone. Oh, he has microphone.
Yeah, it's not unmute. Mahendra Bhai.
Probably not there.
It's frozen. Yeah.
All right. Anybody, or Bashanji, last word. Oh, Mahendra is there. All right. Sorry that I'm kind of back and forth. Mahendra, have a brief word. You want to have a brief word? No.
I don't really have any comments yet.
Okay.
I'm an observer and I like the presentations, basically.
Bashantji, any comments?
Now unmute yourself, sir. Please unmute.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
The last word is that all of these 25 poets, they belong to technical group. They are not from literary background. So this technical group gives some idea through poetry is very important, and I am thankful to all of them, and mostly to Vijay Mishra, who is arranging this thing. A word of appreciation to Dr. Vijay Mishra. Thank you very much.
That's okay. It's always a pleasure. So anybody else has any other word? We close.
I just want to say one comment, as Poppy said, for Manish's poem, that opening line itself is a poem. I think same goes for Poppy's poem, that opening line, that I know that I'm a Kaidi, that means that I'm more free than anybody else. That short opening itself is a poem by itself.
Right. But that's kind of more analytic. We have to be like,
yeah.
What's the word and what's the sentence and what's the thought and what's the muchana. So anyway, so people who are into melody, my point is this whole thing about like what the word is, what the thought is. So that's the part of our India Discovery Center to see what drives us to write. The words make meaning or the thoughts make meaning. So when I say I'm a Qaid, is that a sentence or is that a concept? Anyway, so I think, let me hear Vijay, Manish, Chandu, Amandip, you want to say something?
Sorry, I was on mute. No, it was wonderful program. All the points were wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, I really liked your translation of the Vedas. I mean, it was great. And really the highlight was today the Sanskrit poems, and of course other Sunanas and Chandu Bhais and everybody else. It's wonderful, amazing.
And Jayant Bhai, the teacher. Okay, why don't we give him let us hear from Jayant Bhai. Jayant Bhai, briefly.
Yes, I think that was with a wonderful poems from everybody, and just going back to my concept was that even the different observer for the same event, they have different perception. We had the same subject for everybody, and each one had a different perception of freedom. And I enjoyed a lot. Everybody, I just and Chandu reminds me of for a good chef, where no dish is perfect till you sprinkle some good salt, just perfect, sir. And what he does is he sprinkle enough English words like a salt into the Gujarati mix, and it brings completely a different flavor.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay, all right. I think we are, see, Rampriya is the only person, we don't have many South Indian presentations. So I think Tamil, we have Tamil poets, but somehow when it comes, depending on topics. So Rampriya, you want to have a couple of words? On
Sure, Mr. Ajay.
For the community, South Indian community.
Well, as it is true, South India, though that South joins it, but it is still India. There is a total regard for assimilation with the entire country as such. And, it's, as you might have heard, observed also, the words that I had used had most of it in Sanskrit roots. So the poetry is not going to be totally difficult to follow through. And one other thing is, Kannada by itself has a slightly different meters used in its Kannada language. As you could have observed, the second letter in each line of a stanza is the same letter with its different formations if necessary. So those were the things which were applied on into this poetry as such. And I'm so glad that I was able to present it to SAPNE. I know you had been asking me for quite a while, and this year it took some courage to put it together.
Now, Manish will say 1 minute about the book that you want to do, or what is the state now? Are we still doing it? Manish and Chandu. I thought so. What they want to do is they want to put together the poems and the translations. But I would like it to be like you give good introduction and some kind of a nicely edited, and see that it's properly done. We did once in 2016, but it was it became more verbose. So, is Manish want to take initiative? Manish, you want to speak about it, or Manish is gone, is it? I don't see him. Not there. All right. So he will write to you. All right. So thank you very much.